Max, what's going on, man? I can't see you.
Yeah, my camera ran out of battery.
I know, because kind of how we're recording today, we already recorded some sections and now we're coming back to record this section. But you know what? We gotta do that sometimes. We have a surprise for everybody on this podcast, so I think they'll be happy. Everybody's been waiting for this showdown, but it happened. And I'm not going to tell you what happened. We're going to drop that intro. We have some questions to answer. We have to talk about Southern Nets, Worlds Warm Up, and we have some ranting to do. So with that said, we're going to drop that intro.
Nitro is the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this money-grabbing book racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right. Yeah.
See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about it.
Here we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no! I like this.
Yes, indeed. Nitro's the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 193 of the No Name RC podcast. I'm your host, Keenan White, a.k.a. Lefty the Great. And to my left is Maximus Mortis. We will be joined by JQ later, and we have a special guest coming up. So I'm not going to tell you who that is, but yeah, we definitely got JQ with us. I lost some light back there. We've been recording for so long. But we got Max fresh off his heat stroke and everything in Spain and off the Worlds Warm Up. We go into a little bit more detail in that later on. We'll talk about that. But welcome, Max. How are you feeling? Have you recovered? Did you have fun in Spain?
Yeah, Spain was fun. I'm feeling fine. Sunday was just a bit hot, but yeah, it was really fun to see everyone go. And pitting for David, I actually learned a lot about how he drove, so that was very interesting.
Sweet. And you got to do some testing on the track. We're going to talk about that real quick. But before we do that, I'd like to say thank you and shout out to all of the NNRC squad around the world. We cannot do it without you guys. Thank you for all the support and the love that you guys show myself and the podcast. Also, shout out to the patrons of the NNRC. We cannot do it without you guys. Like, seriously. Thank you for your help. It helps me out a lot. I greatly appreciate that. And if you wish to become a patron, you can. There's a link in the written description of this podcast, and every little bit helps. I do apologize that we haven't been able to get you any Patreon pods, but like Max got caught up going to Spain. Then I'm actually off to Italy. Maybe we'll try and record one on Monday when Max is recovered, or maybe this weekend. Also, shout out to the awesome sponsors of this podcast. We can't do it without them. Remember, everybody, showing the sponsor some love shows the podcast some love. So please, can you go check out and say thank you to, we got links and coupon codes and all this stuff in our written description, so you can go check it out. But a big, big, big thank you to Invisible Speed, TZO 200 Tires, High Tech RCD, TNR Fuels, Mayako, Beach RC, Techno RC, Lugs Racing Tire, JQSM, G-Spec RC Tuning, Sun Pedal USA, I think I said that right this time, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, Racecraft USA, Clinic RC, RCGP, House of RC, the DR Race Shop, and JTP RC. Big shout out to my boy RC Kevin out there doing his thing. And yeah, thank you. Remember, showing the sponsors some love, show the podcast some love, and we have coupon codes, affiliate links. Help us out, people. Help us out. Even if you order something and there's no coupon code, say, hey, I heard about this on the No Name RC podcast. So, Max, you a little bit tired, dude? A little bit tired, you know?
Yeah, it's been a long day. Woke up at like 8, 9, 11 p.m.
Yeah, well, you almost died in Spain too, so we'll talk about that real quick. But you know, we have some RC questions that we need to get into. We don't. Okay, so first off, let me get this straight because I have a story. So Sunday, I got hacked. I lost. I don't know what happened. They got into my Facebook. They got my Facebook flagged from some old page that I have from many years ago that I don't even use again. Which then, in turn, because I had all of that connected with Instagram, then that got shut down. Then, actually, like 30 minutes after this, they went into my PayPal. So this was happening while I'm trying to watch like Pro Buggy or Truggy Main debating with guys on Discord about the importance of the world and all this type of stuff. You know, I was just, and it was like 110 degrees and I was sitting like just sweating. So I wasn't able to get my Facebook back. I'm trying to get it back. I have 30 days. I'm sending like pictures of my ID, all this type of stuff. I have some people that actually work in Facebook. I was trying to get it back. In the meantime, I did make a new Facebook because, dude, I do most of my work on Facebook and Instagram. My Instagram was just kicking off, like just getting up there how I wanted to. I was just learning how to use it. But if I have to start all over again, I will and just do it properly. The TikTok is still up. The NNRC Facebook page is still up, which I was so thankful of. And of course, all of our YouTube stuff is up. But I will say this, take your cybersecurity serious. I was an idiot. I won't do that again. That's for sure. I felt like I've lost my entire Monday morning. I was so lost. My body's like, just go enjoy the day. I said, I can't. Like, I'm just not feeling this. But anyway, that's what happened to me. Sorry if you guys have been messaging me and I haven't responded. I can't. My Facebook for now is just gone. It doesn't exist. So if you see Keenan Keith White, you see me in a gray hat. It's either gonna be me in a gray hat next to the JQ van, or me in an RC gear sitting off at the beach. It's me. It's not a scam. It sucks, Max. It fucking sucks. Really, it does. So I'm so upset about it.
Yeah, I mean, you're the person that I know that spends the most amount of time on Facebook. Sometimes I think even in your sleep you're doing Facebook. So
I would say 85% of what I do is between Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
So I now have to either hopefully get it back or rebuild, but now I'm gonna just have backups and admins for everybody. This one happened again. And I need to, you know what, thank God I still had the Discord, so I'd still be able to contact people through there. But this is even more why I want a proper website. So, hey, you know what? If you know how to do badass websites, I'm looking for you. Now, I can't pay you a lot of money, but I want to make my website bad, and I want you to show me how to use it. Contact me because I need to get it fixed. Anyway, Max, I think we're going to go straight into the questions this week. The Beach RC bench racing questions, because I don't really have any news. Do you have any news whatsoever?
No, not
yeah,
really.
I haven't even had. That's how messed up I have been. I haven't even had time to look for news. I lost some shout outs. I did want to say shout out to Reno Savoya. I see he had to leave the race early because I believe it's his child. I don't know. I'm not sure. I believe she's a girl or she's a female. I believe she was sick, really sick, and I wish her a speedy recovery and our positive vibes out to the Savoya family and whatnot like that. So very scary situation for him, and in that case, racing becomes second. You know, so I hope.
Yeah, no doubt.
I wish her a speedy recovery. Max, I think we're just going to go right into some questions. We're going to talk about your experience at Redavon and then later on in this podcast, but we're going to go to some questions, then take a quick look at Southern Natch. It was a great race this weekend. I like the track, all that type of stuff. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But first, let's go with the Beach RC bench racing Q&A.
BeachRC.com, the racers' one-stop online hobby shop. Choose from all the popular brands and variety in stock with super fast shipping and great customer service. BeachRC.com still has the local hobby shop feel with all the benefits of the internet. BeachRC.com is the exclusive distributor for Ultimate Racing, JQ Racing, Pro Circuit Racing Tires, Nitro Lux Fuels, and Assault RC Performance products. So fill up your cart and check out at BeachRC.com today.
All right. Thank you to Beach RC, Brent, and those guys. Brent messaged me. He's like, what happened to your Facebook? You didn't pick Dakota Fenn. So I was joking with him. I was talking to Lucas. I see he dropped another video. I got to go check it out. Shout out to my boy Lucas, man. He's doing some great content. Go check them out. Give Beach RC some subs. We do have an affiliate link. Please use it. It helps us out. Even if you ain't going to use it, just say, hey, I hear about you all the time on the No Name RC podcast. All righty, Max. So we have some questions from last week. I did lose some. Luckily, I did screenshot these leads because now with my Facebook, this is when I lost one. But our first question comes from my good buddy down in Australia. We have 2 Australians asking questions. Nick Lewis, moving from a rough track out, a rough, blown out, loose tracks to an oiled, medium grip, smoother track. What would be the first 3 setup changes the arrogant one would make?
I'd lower the rear link and reduce towing. Also, I'd probably go for a thicker center diff. But keep the front and rear quite stiff still. Quite loose. Apart from that, there isn't really much. You can go for a bit stiffer rear spring, a bit sort of more high frequency rear spring. That will give you a bit of speed. Or more holes in the piston. Go from like a 5-hole to an 8-hole, maybe. Give you a bit more grip. Very sort of slight changes, really. The rear end roll center changes. The biggest one I can think of, sort of how fundamentally on how the car handles. But on a smooth track, the rear end can handle the jacking force, and you can gain much rear grip that way, and then you can reduce towing to gain rotation. So you overall get a car that is very consistent and good rear grip, but then you still have a car that has a lot of rotation thanks to the low towing. So those are the 2 things I think are the most important for me. But for someone else, for David, for example, that perhaps wouldn't work.
Okay. Matthew Parsi, Team Parsi, congratulations to Jack on his 2nd place position. Podium here a couple weeks ago, I think it was last week and the weekend before. Hi team, for low grip smooth track, would adding anti-squat by lowering the D block pill be more of a useful change than raising the C block pill?
He said smooth and
smooth, a low grip smooth track.
Low grip smooth. Yeah. For low grip, you want to lower the rear arm because the rear arm height is very much in control of how the car rolls. Sort of, does it feel stiff? Does it feel soft? And does the rear end sort of feel like it has grip? And the rear arm height is very sensitive to that. So the less grip you have, you want to feel that the rear end has grip. And sometimes when it's really bumpy, you feel the rear end too much. So that's the point where you don't lower the rear arm. So yeah, every time it's smooth and low grip, smooth and oily, you lower the rear arm and lower the upper link to sort of match the roll center change. That way you gain grip. And the limit is when your car starts sort of grip rolling.
Okay. Benjamin James, if you could introduce RC racing to a country that doesn't have it, which country would it be? So I thought about this question. It has to be to a country where the people can afford to do it. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
it has to go to a country. Okay, so this is how it works. I live in a somewhat third world country. Not everybody here can race RC cars, but there's a middle class and an upper middle class, and then there's uber rich that can, and those are the people that can, and that's a small percentage of the entire population here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I would say you would have to introduce it to a country that has the means to support the racing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know which country I would introduce. It's like all good. Like, look, I know we have guys that are doing it in Italy. I'm sorry, in India, and we have guys that are doing it in Sri Lanka and all that type of stuff. But I mean, like, would it make sense taking RC to Afghanistan right now? Or something like that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
to say which country that I would take it to, I think RCs in a lot of countries, it just has to go to countries that where the population can afford to do it, and therefore it can also grow and nurture. And you know, in all these countries, they have the same here, like middle class, upper middle class, uber rich. So I don't know which country would I introduce this to. I don't know. Like,
Well, Costa Rica has been introduced already, but that has been very nice to see.
yeah, they're growing fast.
Because they have a very good community. The biggest issue in something like, for example, the Philippines was all the people were like very wealthy, and
Well,
they
that's
were
kind of
sort of,
the same issue in all these countries, though. To be honest,
yeah. So they are a very slim group. They have to be very wealthy, who have enough time to spend on RC,
Mm-hmm.
and have sort of enough interest and possibility to do it. And so when they lost the track initially, sort of there isn't a driving force for RC. The same way for something like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
France, they have like the Montpellier area. Like there has to be a driving force for RC in that area, just by nature. And I think, yeah, that is the issue, that there isn't a driving sort of force.
All right. He also asks, who is an under the radar driver to keep an eye on heading into the Worlds in September?
Who is the number one?
No, who isn't a driver under the radar?
Oh, under the radar.
I'm gonna say a name. Daniel
Okay.
Pariente.
For qualifiers, yes, 100%, I agree. But for mains, I just don't believe. I just don't trust it.
You don't think he can
For
make the main?
qualifiers, I think he can make the main, but to be sort of a huge surprise, you know, like a top 5 finish or something. Like, I don't see that happening. I see him being third in a qualifying round.
I think he can make the main. I'm not thinking he's gonna make.
I think if he has a confidence in his car, yes, he can make the main.
What
But
type of car
there's
does
a
he
lot
drive?
of S-Works, but there is a lot of there's a lot of drivers at this point who are at that level. You know, like that's the level where, because there's, like we said with Joseph, there's Mayfield, Tessman, Ronnefolk, Fend. Well, we didn't even put Fend there. So Mayfield, Tessman, Ronnefolk, Rongaro. Those 4 are going to be the main, no matter what, unless they have like massive flame out issues or something. But in pure pace, there's no question these guys are going to be in the main. And one of these 4 are very, very likely to win. So then the next group, sort of Fend, like the groups we go through.
Yeah, we talk about this later on in the
It's going to be
podcast as
later
well.
on, but
let's just
but
give
the
you a
groups-
dark horse. One driver.
Okay, but the groups like after that are so big. Like there could be like Valente who makes the main. or
Mhm.
Valente could make the quarters and not pump up to the semi, and Oscar Baldo could be sort of in there. And the picking someone like Pariente is going to be hard because he can be 20th or he can be 5th, and any driver, like even Spencer Rivkin, might not make the main. But yeah, Pariente, that's going to be one. Yeah, it's difficult to just
Is
say one,
Yuna
but
going?
yeah, Joona Hatan I think is going, but I don't think he's going to be that type
Echo?
of dark horse. Pekko also is going.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't
It's
think neither of those guys will either.
Parente probably
Polito.
will be.
I'll put
Yes.
Polito on
Okay.
that too.
Yeah, but Parente and Polito. Yeah, those
Yeah,
are perfect.
put Polito
Those
on
two
that.
guys can be anything. Like Polito wasn't too good this time, but I think
Yeah.
he's gonna be better for the Euros.
Yeah. Polito, for you guys who don't know, is Kyosho driver from Italy. He was really good. Like he made the last Euros and he was actually pretty fast till he broke. All right,
Yeah.
let's see. Edwin Ortiz. Will the Southern Nats track build finally break this pattern of flat tracks? I actually thought that the Southern Nats track was pretty good. Lots of decent sized air, not stupid, crazy, break your car air. We'll talk more about that in our Sonats report that we're gonna do here shortly. Dan Thomas, when or if Greg Degani releases his own version of a Nitro engine, will it be called the Toe? Is his race interview in his race interview he mentioned this, but I tell you what, Greg's dead serious about bringing out an engine.
Yeah, that'd be good. I like.
He
to
wants
see
a
that.
carburetor for it though. He said I'd go to RC2 just to go to the Nova Rossi factory. I go to Italy and race RC2 just to go to the Nova Rossi factory and see if I could buy 500 carburetors. That's what he said to me the other day.
Yeah.
All right, we have a couple more questions and that's it. I'm sorry if I did not get your questions. I lost a bunch of them with the great hack of June 5th. All right, so real quick, Benjamin James again. All right, Ryan Steck. We'll do Ryan's question real fast. Why do we not see pillow ball front suspension on 10 scale wheelers, 10 scale four-wheel drive buggers? Isn't the S-Works pillow ball?
The old S-Works was, but the new one is same as everything else. I think it's just down to weight. The pillow ball is a bit more heavy, oftentimes, and also not as durable. I think. It depends on how you do it, but most of the times the balls will end up being too heavy. Otherwise, I think the issue is that the front end becomes too. It becomes too numb. Sort of for full drive, the width of the car compared to the length or wheelbase is a bit narrower compared to 8 scale. So you kind of want a car that has more sort of force in the front tires, and pillow ball has a lot less because of the sort of, what do you call it, scrub radius. So that's probably the reason why you want that aggressive front end, so the car steers and the rear end can follow. But I do believe you can make a pillow ball or a C-hub work in 10 scale just as well.
Okay. Sweet. All right. Next question. Benjamin James, and this is our last question. If most of the American 8 scale racers don't travel to the IFMAR Worlds in Spain this year, what would be the alternative? What do you mean? What would be the alternative?
There is no.
I first off, I think most of them are going. Like I said, Spain's lifted the vaccine thing, so a lot of these guys will go. I mean, I don't think every single person that qualified for the Worlds is going to go, because it is expensive as well, but I think these top guys will. Well, I mean, what alternative is there? I mean, let's look at South Africa. They had a Worlds there. I don't think any of the Americans went, and then some dude won it from South Africa. And then you had
No, it was a
Jakarta.
German guy, but
Okay,
yeah.
so German.
But
And then
that
you had
South
Jakarta.
Africa was South African was different because there was absolutely no top driver who went.
Really? Was it that dangerous or what was happening?
No, I don't know. People just boycotted it, but there was absolutely like Martin Achta wasn't even. I mean, he was okay, but he wasn't like
Right,
even
I get that.
like
I get that.
he had no chance of winning even the Euros.
Yeah.
So, but Jakarta was also. I wouldn't even count that as a sort of having an asterisk or anything because it was just a few Americans like Thibaut Cavalieri and I think Drake who didn't go. But I mean, Korch was there, Degani was there, Chad Bradley was there. So it's like
Pavidis,
yeah,
Hughes,
Pavidis was there. Yeah,
Igon,
it's
all those guys.
I think that's just a bit of an excuse. Like it's too dangerous. I think it's just wanting not to put yourself in a situation where you can look bad. And that's to me it's ridiculous. But yeah,
Yeah, you know what, man? I'm gonna say it. I am going to fucking say it. I know JQ says it too, but Neo-Buggy, the Americans went, right? The last
Yeah.
Neo-Buggy, it moved to Redavon. No Americans went.
yeah,
So I think they're nervous of this track. But see, when I look at this track, I don't look at it and say, oh, I'm scared of it. I look at it and say, holy fuck, this would be a great place to have a world championship. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was funny because a lot of people were watching the InfoRC. Thanks to InfoRC for giving us some coverage. And I just remember like some of my American fans saying, holy shit, this track is fast. Like, you know what I mean? And these are 50-second, 51-second fast laps. Like this isn't like putting around and all that type of stuff. So it's going to be interesting. You know what, man? I just want the best and the best to go represent their countries and do what they got to do. Because that's something that people overlook too. This is a chance to represent your country. Let's look at the worlds like the Olympics or the World Cup of football. You get a chance to go represent your country. Not only are you representing your brand and all that type of stuff. And I think a win by like David, by any of these guys, like some people try to say that a win of a Worlds isn't going to change things. A win of a Worlds gives you 2 years of legitimate, we are world fucking champions. Associated has been able to do that for now almost 4 years. You know what I mean? So it does bring legitimacy. It does give you that. And I don't care what anybody says, it does help sales. Anything you wanted to add with that before we go, Max?
No, I think the only thing I'm sort of wondering about is like I think Ongaro, for the first time, he looks like he has a real shot to sort of unleash his dominance. The Euro track is his style. The World's track, I mean, he won the warm-up. Like, imagine winning 2 Worlds in a row, winning the Euros and the Worlds in the same year, winning a World's warm-up, winning IBC, winning Montpellier. Like, that type of year, I don't even believe in that because I don't think he's looked as good as he could. And that sounds ridiculous to say because he's been so good. But I think that's one of the storylines I'm interested to see. Because like he has the chance to be more dominant than I think anyone has ever been.
Really?
I think
wow.
so.
That's a bold statement, Max. That is a fucking bold statement. Very bold statement.
But the thing is that he still has to prove that final step. And but the fact that this is possible to see, I think is interesting.
Sweet. Well, you know what, Max? I think it's time that I don't have any more questions. I'm sorry, like I said, if I missed you guys' questions, but unfortunately, that's what happened. I think, Max, we're going to go on and talk about the Southern Nationals and the World's Warm-Up. So, with that said, thank you to Beach RC. Thank you guys for your questions. We will be I would say next week, but I'll be in Italy, so I won't be able to do that. But yeah, thank you for the questions. We enjoy answering them, and hopefully we get some more for our episode in a couple of weeks. And thank you to Beach RC. Remember, everybody, use that affiliate link. It's in the written description of this podcast. Max, with that, we're going to go start on the Southern Nats race report, race recap, brought to you by Techno RC and High Tech RCD.
Techno RC. Techno RC. Techno RC is a premium manufacturer specializing in 8th and 10th scale high-performance off-road RC buggies and trucks. Visit www.technorc.com for a complete catalog of their products. Techno RC. Excellence in engineering. Hashtag Techno Takeover.
And thank you, Techno RC, for your continued support. Techno had a pretty decent weekend at the Southern Nats. Also, this So Nats recap is brought to you by High Tech RCD. They are a leader in all RC systems. Sorry, I lost that. They are a leader in RC systems, delivering the highest performance and reliability, supported by a dedicated customer service. The HSBC 9381TH servers, along with their new DB8778 WPs that are catering the 10 scale world for your 10 scale on-road and off-road. Both offer efficient brushless motors, titanium gears, low consumption, constant output, and a metal case. They are both designed with manufactured with high technology, and they are using their industrial servo innovations, bringing them to RC. The RDX2 Pro charger, I am using it because I'm doing some boat racing, or not boat testing tomorrow, and see if I can get my boat to do 100 miles an hour. It charges 2 battery packs at once. I am currently charging 2 3S battery packs, and I am monitoring them on my, well, not right now, but monitoring them on my phone with the Bluetooth dongle. Trust in High Tech, your servo and charger headquarters. Visit hightechrcd.com/where to buy for your nearest dealer. You can find the links in the written description of this podcast. Max, Southern Nats, nice race in Louisiana. I've been here to this race with JQ when the previous owners, Caleb Hamby, may he rest in peace. He passed away last year. Him and his buddy, they made this race, and I had probably the most fun, and is one of the best facilities I've been to for racing, indoor racing. So it's good to see. Race time now has it. It is a cap race. I think they went a little bit over that cap race, but it isn't too bad. I mean, it was like 450 entries altogether, and I think it was a comfortable race. Talking to people that were there, they got some track time, and they were out of there at a decent time. I did watch a lot of this on Sunday. I think I watched the pro, like one of the pro E-Buggy mains, the pro Truggy main, and of course, I watched the pro Nitro Buggy main as well. So I just wanted to give a few shout outs, Max, from this race. First off, I have to say, let's play it. We'll put the pro Nitro race on while I do this, so we can watch this, so you guys can watch it while we do it, and we'll talk about this track, because I actually think this is probably one of the best tracks I've seen Bobby do in quite some time. It was really good. So, by the way, I do not own the rights to this. This is from Live RC. I pay my $5, and this is what you get: instant replays. Max, what are your thoughts on the track, dude? I'll tell you what, this is my favorite part of the track right here. Boom,
yeah,
jumping up that.
Actually, it's funny because I heard on some podcast, Bobby has said that, oh, this track, like I can't wait to hear Max say something about this track or whatever, something noting me. It's actually interesting because I thought exactly as you did, that this is one of my favorite track of his. It's very, very sort of simple. There's not too much. There's not too much of anything. There's just enough of everything. I think the flow of the track is very nice, and the sections he has, you have to drive the car differently in some sections. Some sections you have to be very aggressive, jump aggressively. Some sections you have to just keep your corner speed up and drive smoothly. So yeah, congrats to.
I think they
Bobby
did a
and
great
all those
job.
guys. I think it's funny because like PNB was almost the polar opposite of me, but this is what I sort of like him best to do, because when I went to PNB, the sections that are here that I like, those were the sections the type of sections that I liked best at PNB when I went. But the other stuff which I don't like that's the part from this track that's missing, like the too difficult parts or the too big parts. I think that's what's missing from me.
I mean, I like that section right there. I like this double. I really like this quad pack. I think some guys were able to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it. And then they had this straightaway, like this rumble section, and guys were able to come flying, not like right here. They were able to come flying on through the middle. The cars got a little bit disrupted, but nothing too serious. A nice straightaway into a jump. I like that. And then I love this jump. Even though they're cutting the track, I love the jump.
I do think he should have made the pipe correctly, so they would have had to. Because now he sort of made the pipe bit to the side. But I mean, I think that's better for people not breaking their cars.
Yeah. I liked it. I really enjoyed the track. It looked good. I was happy to watch the racing there. I thought it was fine. Great kudos to Trackmasters, and they did a great job of building the track. All right, so as we can see, Dakota Fenn is like out to a lead, and that's it. Like he led from start to finish. I thought Mayfield was gonna get there at some point, but he had some issues. I believe he flamed out, and then he just kind of gave up at the end.
Yeah, he before the first pit stop, he flamed out in the back.
Okay.
And then the crazy thing that happened was the marshal who brought his car,
I saw
just threw it over the main straightaway and into the fucking pit, and just like
I know it almost hit him in his head. I saw that. I was like, whoa. That was Drew Spurgeon, I think, that was pitting him.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunate for Mayfield. He seems to have some bad luck at this race. I mean, it happened last year. He did win Truggy though. So good stuff. I think the two things stood out to me on this race. One is is the guy we're looking at right now, Jackson Brunson. This dude, Jackson Brunson, qualified TQ Q2 of all these guys. Fucking impressive. And I told you that Jackson Brunson is definitely getting faster.
Yeah. Brunson, number one surprise. I mean, in the mains, Fuller ended up beating him, but still, having that type of qualifying, like Fuller, in my opinion, is a different caliber driver than Brunson. So for him to show those results, I mean, I've never seen him do that. That's impressive, and I think, it's going to be good for his confidence going forwards.
Yeah, I mean, and I think he ended up, let's see, in truck, he finished, let's see where he finished in Pro Nitro Buggy. So in Pro Nitro Buggy, he couldn't put it together, and he ended up finishing, I don't know, where is he? Pro Nitro A main. He finished 10th, so he didn't have a good main, but in Truggy, he was leading for a while, and he ended up finishing second, I believe. So let's bring that up. Yeah, no, okay. So no, it was Ryan Mayfield, Dakota Fan, Jackson Brunson, Cole Ogden, Mason Fuller. That's HB. 3 cars in the top 5. 3 cars in the top 5. HB is killing in America. I would say in Truggy, 6 is a good result for Seth Van Dalen. Jared Tebow in 7th in truck. He would win better than that, but he was kind of off on truck all weekend, I would say. It looks like Phi Long made it in Pro Nitro Truggy, so good to him. He finished 11th. And a big shout out to Cole Caston. He's getting faster, man. Getting faster. Brandon Rose in 13th, he would win better than that. Spencer Hecker, Tyler Jones. Yeah, Tanner Denny kind of broke at the beginning. Tyler Jones should just be way up further in these races, especially in Truggy and whatnot. All right, so let's go to The other person that super impressed me, and I started really taking notice of him this exact race last year, Joey Bourdon. Last year, Joey Bourdon just missed the. Did he get the bump, or he just missed the bump? Oh no, he was involved. I think it was an E-Buggy. I think he was involved in an incident similar to Fuller's, but it was Brandon Rose's fault. Joey Bourdon out qualifying all the Technos in at this race, Max. Impressive. Super
That is,
impressive.
And the fact that he is he doesn't seem like he's a big part of the team. You know, they don't push him much. He's sort of more in the blinds. So you don't really see of him as much. I don't know if it's his location or something, but it's really good to see him having some good results.
Oh, he's been hitting the race scene hard. Him, his dad. I was talking to him at Silver State, and he was really good at RCGP. In fact, I had picked him to win, but he didn't. But he ended up finishing 13th. But I think he can take away that he had a great, 13th out of 18. So, starting, I think 6th ahead of like Jared Tebow and all that type of stuff. I think that's really good. But in Pro Nitro, man, Dakota fan just took over. And I think Mason Fuller, had he qualified better, because he started in 11th, right? And when you got 18 cars and you're starting in 11th, you have a complete and total cluster to get through. You know what I mean? It's not easy. And he was able to get up to 2nd, but by that time, I believe Fenn was just so far ahead that it would have been impossible. Unless Fenn made a mistake or had an issue, it would have been impossible to catch him. So, look, man, I can't say much more about Mason Fuller besides the fact that he will win. And how many times will he win? So if I'm these guys right now, I'm nervous. I'm nervous about Mason Fuller. I'm not, because I know he's gonna win. Jared Tebow, 3rd place. I think Tebow would want a 1st, but I think a 3rd is a good position for him. It's good on this type of track. Not really, I wouldn't say it's not really a techno track, because, to be honest, let's see, Seth Van Dalen was 4th. So yeah, good result for Tebow. What do you think about that? 3rd, he would win 1st, but I think he can help.
I don't think currently Tebow's program isn't good enough where he could battle for wins, unless it's a really, really good day for him. And that is unfortunate. I think he drives really well. I just think he sort of, the car, the setup, maybe even tires, who knows? But that isn't enough at the moment, because I think his driving is good enough.
Seth Van Dalen in 4th and qualify 15th. Damn good. Good show. Congratulations, Seth Van Dalen. Did you listen to JQ on the last podcast? I think that's a great result for Seth. Yes, I want Seth to win some of these races, but I think he needed that good 4th. And
Seth has had 2 good races now. I think PNB and here he's been really good.
Spencer Heckert started in 10th, finishes in 5th. Great result for him. Top S-Works guy.
Yeah. Bornhorst was surprisingly lost this weekend.
I agree.
Because I don't think he has had as bad of a race as this one was. Even at PNB, he was better than at SIC, he was better than this.
Cole Ogden, 7th. I don't know how to feel about this. I thought Cole would be faster at this track, because he's always been faster. So while 7th isn't bad, it's not the best either. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean, the good thing for Cole is he actually finished. But I mean, he was in top 10 because a lot of races he has that sort of like he's in like the bottom 3 really. But yeah, that's at least good. Like top 7, okay, like at least you're there. I think that's good.
Good comeback for Brandon Rose after a disappointing Silver State in 9th. He went better than that, but I think he can deal with that. And like I said, Brunson in 10th, Pavidis in 11th. I don't know what to think of Pavidis right now. At one point, I think
crazy.
he's gaining.
Yeah. The crazy thing about it is how consistent he is. Like, if you go through all the races he's done this year with all the pros, he's always there. He's always in the main. He's from like 7th or 8th to 12th every single race. Like every time, no matter what happens, he's always there. So,
oh shit!
Yeah,
you know what? I was looking at the wrong results. Sorry, that was. Oh no, that's Pro Nitro Buggy. What am I saying? Why does it have him here in 9th? I don't get that. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Yeah, 9th for him. I'm happy for him. Oh, Pavidis was talking about. Sorry, I got lost.
Yeah.
I don't know what Pavidis is gonna do, man. Has he improved since he left AE?
I think yes. In consistency, yes. Okay. The thing with AE was when he was good, he was really good. But when he was worse, he was really, really bad. Because now it's been sort of, no matter which race he goes, he's more consistent. Like, remember in 2021, like at DNC, he was nowhere. But then at Nationals, he was really good. And he made the main. But, he's more sensitive to the car with the HB. He's more comfortable ever.
I would agree there. Tyler Denny, Tyler Jones. He let me see. Did Tyler Jones have any mistakes, sir? Do you have any long laps, anything like that? He had a 62-second lap, so maybe he had a flame out. Maybe. He also had a 55-second lap, so I don't know. I don't know what to say about Tyler Jones. I really like him. I think he's super talented. But I have to say this. He just hasn't. I don't know, man. Like, he won that race at PNB that year, and he hasn't won one yet. And I'm kind of, you kind of expect him to win it, and he hasn't. So I don't know what to think about Tyler Jones at the moment. And there's no disrespect to him. I like him. I like his dad, and I think he's extremely talented. But something's not right with their something's not good picking with their program, I would say. Tanner Danny would be disappointed with 14th. Aaron Kaufman, not a name we get to see much in these mains, but is a TLR driver from up the Northeast. Just happy that he made the main, man. Happy he made the main. And let's see who else here. Ryan Mayfield, 16th. So yeah, he tried to go. He retired at the 23rd minute, and that happens. That happens. This race seems to be Mayfield's kryptonite for Nitro Buggy. So
yeah, hard to say.
And congratulations to Julian Oliveras and Lee Setzer, the only associated guys to make it, but both out extremely early. Quite disappointing for Associated, I would say. That's the only 2 cars you got in there, and they finished Julian was out at 6 minutes and 30 seconds, and Lee was out at 3 minutes and 10 seconds. So quite disappointing. You didn't even get a chance to see what they could do. And whatever. Let's have a quick look at E-Buggy. Dakota Fan. Bornhorst had a good E-Buggy weekend. Mason Fuller. Cole Ogden. Brian Mayfield, your top 5. Jackson Brunson, 6.
Yeah, he had a good weekend.
Dude, let's see. Here we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 HBs in that race, in the E-Buggy race. And Joey Bordon made the main, and Jermaine made the main. Ryan Lutz, not a good E-Buggy race for Ryan Lutz, none in 13th. He would win a better race than that. I have to see who won. I have to see who won E-Truggy. Hold on. Oh, wow. Tyler Hooks won. No, Tyler Hooks won. And then Phi came second. and Patrick Rossiter third. Wow, how many e-truggers were there? Only 18. Low turnouts. Oh no, sorry. That wasn't, it was more than that. 436 entries, 185 drivers. Small race for them. I know this race has to be capped and whatnot. But I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed it. Congratulations to Dakota Fenn on his dominating win. Mason Fuller, it's only a matter of time before he gets that. And I like it. I like the track. I thought it was a good event. Oh, the coverage was good too. The coverage was good. So at first it wasn't good because we only had this camera angle. And I'm like, Danny, please tell me we're going to have moving cameras. I enjoyed Lance's commentating. They took interviews and so for instance, I know the guy who won intermediate Nitro buggy because they did like a profile on him. So shout out to Cody Ingram. He won that. Brian Givens, man, Bogey's racing a lot. Graham Hill is Raya Osborne and Robbie Darby, who has this. Yeah. Wow. And so what they did was they would record like these guys saying who their sponsors were and all that type of stuff, and it looked good. I think Danny and Lance did a great job, and I'm glad that Dave and Racetime decided to get them there to do
Is
it
that
because
Pavitas?
that's Pavitas. That would probably be why his race sucked.
Ooh, you got Cavallari, I think.
No, that Cavallari didn't go.
Oh,
so
that was some green and yellow.
That was Fuller or Bornhorst.
Oh
probably.
Bornhorst.
Missing from this race, Cavallari, Cole Tollard, Aiden Horn.
Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't go.
I think they got on-road races coming up soon. Carpet Nats are soon, followed by 10 scale, by Dirt Nats, and all that stuff. So I think they're pretty busy with that stuff. Maybe taking a break off. And I know like Aiden and Cole are primarily 10 scale racers. So yeah. All in all, man, I think that I love the Southern Nats. I think this is the best track layout that Bobby's made in a long time. From what I heard, the track went smooth. I heard that, like, because there's a curfew, so they kind of turned the lights out on guys at like 9:30, so they can all get the fuck out of there. Because if you're in there after a certain hour, you get charged a lot. I think it's like $1,000 an hour or something like that. The rumors are that this race might be moving to Nashville, though. That's what I'm hearing.
Okay, so why?
Well, I think logistically wise, it's like 11-hour trip to bring all this stuff first, so that costs a lot of money. And to be honest, while I think the entry count of 436 drivers is a good, comfortable race. I mean, I'm pretty sure that this facility is super expensive too, and they can't really have more races because they have to be out by a certain time. So I think that plays, because you got to understand, I believe the people that started this race did it for their passion, just to have a race. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's great. But we also, like, Dave is a business. You know what I mean? And Racetime is a business, and they have to make money. So maybe moving this race to Nashville will allow them to have more entries, and then they can make more money. And also logistically wise, they don't have to like I could imagine how much it costs to send all that stuff there. But it's a shame because it's a great facility. It's probably one of the best facilities to have an on-road race at. It also gets a big group of the Texas guys that come, but it's a long drive for everybody. Like it's a long drive, and it probably one of the things that hindered this race. But man, I'm looking at Fenn. Fenn looks so good. Like no mistakes. No mistakes whatsoever. Fenn's good, Max. Fenn's good. Anything you want to say about this race before we sign out?
No, I think track was pretty good. Racing was pretty good. It was just I a good race time event.
Yeah, that's what I can say. I really don't have anything to say negative about this race, to be honest. I don't.
Not in like, if we're talking like comparing to sort of
Wow,
what
that
the
was a
races
super
can
track
be.
cut.
Yeah, but if we compare to sort of what these races are trying to be, I think that this race executed that pretty well.
Yeah, I love this layout much better than the PNB layout. I really didn't like that too much.
Yeah.
I like the layout, man. I like the way the surface formed up. I really like this spot, like where you can just come fly in, but your cars still get disrupted onto a straightaway, and then I love that. So great race. Dave has 2 more races left. He has Wicked Weekend, and then he has AMS. If this goes to Nashville next year, I think that'd be good. I mean, Nashville is a big city, so I mean, maybe it will get more interest and more people going there. We'll see. But Southern Nats, great race. They are having just to park it. They are having a one last race at this race for a memory of Caleb Hamby, and the guy who used to build the oil tracks for Southern Nats is gonna come and build one last track with all the crazy, you know how you used to have all the crazy elevation and all that type of stuff. So that's gonna happen the week. I think it's the week after the Worlds. But in general, I enjoyed watching the racing. People that I talked to were kind of like, yeah, it was a good event. And yeah, I enjoyed the coverage. I enjoyed hearing Lance call it. And yeah, I mean, I know this sounds like I'm a hater, but I'm kind of glad Mayfield didn't win. Like, you know, I mean, I wanted Mason Fuller to win, but I just want somebody else to win. I don't have an issue with Fenn winning. I don't have an issue with Mayfield winning, but I just like to see somebody else win or change.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I don't really care.
Max says, I don't really care. All right, Max. You know what? I think that's all we're going to talk about the Southern Nats this week. Congratulations to all the winners, everybody that participated. Good job. I'm glad you guys went. You had fun. Let's see. Let me shout out some of the guys here. Who I think my boy Paul Rodman made the A-man and sportsman. Shout out to the intermediate drivers as well. You guys done a good job. And man, yeah, E-Truck, man. E-Truck's growing. Let's see. I want to see how many E-Trucks there were. Hold on for a second. E-Truggy. Mark Santamaria was there too. I think his son won Sportsman Nitro Buggy. That's good. Nitro Truggy. So that's good as well. Congratulations to his son. And yeah, all around good event, comfortable event, next to hotels. Everything's there for you. And yeah, 58 E-Truggies. 58 E-Truggies. Good stuff. All right, Max. I think that's it for that. We're gonna go. I think JQ is gonna meet up with us in a minute. So we're gonna go over and we're gonna talk about the Worlds Warm-Up because you was there, JQ was there, and the Worlds Warm-Up report is brought to you by TNR Fuels. TNR Fuels here at the NNRC. We are all about the glory, and that glory is Nitro. TNR Fuels is the hottest nitro fuel on the market, owned and operated by Chris Nelson and his family. Made by racers for racers. You can get TNR Fuels throughout USA, and he does now have international shipping. For more information to support the company, purchase some fuel, or get it in your hobby shop, please visit www.tnrfuels.com or contact Chris Nelson directly at chris@tnrfuels.com. Also, this World's Warm-Up report is brought to you by Lugs Racing Tires. Lugs Racing Tires has over 55 years of combined experience in RC. They've been testing treads, wheels, and rubber for performance. We have the Lugs Econ lines of tires that were developed with racing budgets in mind. High quality but lower cost means savings can be passed on to you, the racer. Then we have their premium line of tires that provide pure performance made using Lugs custom molds and proprietary rubber compounds. Tires are available in medium, soft, super soft, mega soft, and now long wear. Visit www.lugsracing.com lugsracing.com. Use the promo code NNRC Lugs in all caps, and you will save 25% off your order. Max, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Lugs. Thank you, TNR, for your support. Everybody, show them some support. Max, are you ready to talk to JQ? You know, you spent a few days with him. Let's get him in here, and let's have a chat about the world's warm-up. What do you say?
Yeah, man. Always excited to talk about to the village idiot. I'm gonna say something ridiculous.
All right, let's get JQ in here. IFMAR Worlds Warm Up with you know, it's not often that we get these two together, but we got my vice co-host Max down below, Barry's son. That's his new name, JQ. And then over to my left, we have my vice co-host, vice host, JQ, who's coming off you know, being in Spain in the sun, and you know, one of the best tracks in the world that I could think of. Like, what's up, dudes? Welcome back from Spain, JQ. Are you happy? You don't look happy at all.
No, I'm tired. I actually fell asleep today at 5.
But you know what?
At 7.
I have to give you some credit. I like the non-black or gray shirt that you're wearing. Blue looks good on you. Don't ever wear red. But blue looks all right on you. Don't ever look red. Red made your hair look like super big. Yeah, it's good.
No,
it's
it
good.
was
Good
the camera and the angle.
It's good to see you not wearing RC clothes.
Okay.
So what's up, guys? So you guys went on. JQ, let's talk about this. When did you get out to Spain?
I went there already on Wednesday. So I went to another track for 2 days. David joined me for the second of those. And then warm-up started on Friday. And Max arrived on Friday also, which was good. So he only spent a shorter time in Spain because he almost died. Even in that short time.
Let's get that over and done with. Max, you did almost die.
Not die, but yeah, I had a heat.
I think so.
You came close to death.
Basically, David's semi-final. We flew Max in to be David's mechanic because Adrian got COVID, so he couldn't go.
Right.
So then, last minute, we flew Max in to be David's mechanic, and everything was going smooth until the semi-final first pit stop. So, semi-final first pit stop rolls around, and David's about to come in, and everything had been okay. Like, Max was the guy with the gun. I was going to lift the car up, and then right before he's supposed to come in, I looked like, where the hell is Max? Like, I was just going to tell him like he needs to come in, and he's behind the driver's stand throwing up, holding the gun, ready to go. So I'm like, what the hell? And so actually they had these guards there, like police guards, security, whatever. And she sort of pointed over there because she saw I was looking for someone. She pointed, I look, he's throwing up. I go grab the gun from him first. Then we do the first pit stop with a new crew, me and Nicola. And then I go check on Max, like, what the hell is going on? So yeah, he just started throwing up. For no apparent reason, and he got a headache, and he was all paler than normal, which is unbelievable. And then he was in the pits, and I actually had to go marshal. So because I started in the 1/8, bumped to the quarter, from that 1/8, I had to marshal the semi-final. So I was marshalling, and then about halfway through the 30-minute semi-final, I see a fucking ambulance rolling up. Right? So at this point, I'm like, surely that's not for the pits. Okay, then it pulls up and starts backing to the back of the pits where we were. I'm like, that's for sure for Max. Like, what the hell just happened? Like an ambulance. So I was marshalling. I didn't really know what's going on, except I was pretty sure that Max just died. So that's my side of the story up to this point. So maybe Max can fill in.
Oh yeah, I was just fucking laying on the ground and throwing up in the pits. Like when I threw up initially behind the pits, I was like, okay, now it's like I'm okay. I walked up to the pits, drank some water. I was like, okay, feeling a little bit better. And then when I down back to the pits, like ask if everything is okay, and then I was like, okay, now I gotta go back to pits because I was like super, like my head was hurting and I was like about to throw up. And then like when I went to the pits, like we were lucky that we were on the side because there was that fence, and I just started throwing up over the fence. And yeah, then someone like I think Ibars and Kilic were there, so they was like, okay, dude, like chill. And then I was just laying on the ground and throwing up there, and the guards were there just like with coal packs and everything.
Hey, you know what? You look like you had no sun whatsoever. JQ, I can tell you had any sun, but you have a lot more melanin in your skin than Max.
I have a nice farmer tan.
Yeah, but you're like me. You know what I mean? You get that red, and then you get that nice dark. Because that's how it is when you have melanin in your skin. But this dude here, he lacks it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't even look like he's been in the sun. So in the Discord, I was like, yeah, Max almost died at the Worlds Warm Up. He had to get taken to the hospital with heat exhaustion. Like, why? What happened? I said, oh, his pale Nordic skin couldn't help it. Like, and then
it couldn't handle it.
One of the guys from Sweden times in, I can concur. We can't handle it.
Yeah.
All right. Besides that, there was a great race this weekend. I have to say, thank you to InfoRC for bringing it to us. Because, man, I mean, it wasn't a full on like production, but it was good enough for me. You know what I mean?
I haven't seen anything. How was it? Did they have decent video of the finals?
It was pretty good. I mean, he did follow Oscar Baldo quite a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
he should have followed the battle, maybe.
Right, because Ungaro and Runnerfolk are like battling. You know what I mean? The other dog fighting for 15, 20 minutes, and we saw 60 seconds of that.
Yeah, and they both actually came through the pack because, well, to back up a bit, this was the first race where
let's back right up. Like, let's start from practice and all that stuff. So you got practice. So this was a 3-day race, correct?
Yeah. So Friday was practice, Saturday qualifying, Sunday mains, and practice and qualifying were all 10 minutes. So long runs on the track, and entry was surprisingly small. So we got a lot of track time, but very quick turnaround. So it's very hectic. And yeah, practice went well. And this was the first race that I've been to with David where I was actually quite confident that he would do very well. And already from the very first time I drove, he hadn't actually driven. I drove, and by just based how good my car was, I felt like, okay, this finally, he's going to be happy. Like the car's going to be good for him. And it was so. Like he was typically the fastest in free practice runs. Then in seeding, he was, I don't know, top 3, top 5. He was up there.
Yeah, I think
top 5.
Yeah, but he had the best lap all the way through the seeding.
He usually did have the fastest lap. He didn't maybe put 3 together. Then qualifying was also good, but we did use qualifying as preparation for the Worlds, for testing, and also learning about setup. So, for example, he had a very good Q5. He TQ'd by a lot. I think that qualifier, him and Kanas were on a pace that was like 10 seconds faster than everyone else or something. It was a lot. But then Kanas flamed out, so then he was alone and he got the TQ. But then we still changed the car for Q6 because we wanted to learn something about how he prefers to set his car up, or I did. So we made a change for Q6 and it wasn't that good. But we learned something. So qualifying was good. I can't remember where he qualified. Overall, 4th or 5th or something.
I think it was 5th. But he ended up starting second after semi.
Yeah. And in qualifying, Kanas was super fast all the time. What's his face? Oscar Baldo was super fast. But he had some mistakes, but then pulled it together in the end. And then the X-ray guys, they started off a bit slower, but they found something sort of halfway through qualifying, and suddenly it got really fast.
Yeah, Desmond was flying.
So
that kind of went that round.
it kind of went in waves a bit, like who was fast at what time.
Yeah.
But Canas was sort of consistently always fast.
Oh
And
yeah,
actually-
Canas was like top 3 almost every round up until the final rounds.
What happened to him in his semi?
I believe he just flamed out, but I'm not sure
Really?
because like just before the pits, he just like flamed out, and then I didn't see him again.
Maybe he ran out of fuel. I don't know.
It could be he ran out of fuel, but it was weird.
But
because then
definitely,
they
I think
didn't
Canas was probably
come back
the
on.
fastest guy, one of the fastest guys there all weekend.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah,
But
he was consistently fast. Like
Yeah.
Ongaro was fast one round. Same with Balda. He could have a really, really good round. The next round he like have a good lap and then just crash, and good lap and crash. But yeah, Canas was like every round he was there.
Right.
Yeah.
that way.
And then I would have to say Tasman was the second fastest and most consistent because I thought
Yeah.
Ty would be there, but not like that. And I remember talking to you, Max, and it's like Tasman's just driving so aggressive, like
Yeah, it was interesting because he drove like he almost never does, where he threw the car into the corners, which is so unlike Ty. So it was really good to see, and even like this sort of a uphill in the middle of the track, and then it jumps up a bit. He even like jumped that extra far, almost into the face of the second uphill. So like every single sort of point on track, he was attacking quite hard. So yeah, and the only thing about Ty was that if he wasn't in his groove, then he seemed to suffer a bit. When he found his groove and did his laps, he seemed to be pretty good, like he did in the semi.
Yeah, Ty was super aggressive, started on pole. What's up with Ongaro? Talk to me about Ongaro, JQ.
Yeah, he took some time to get going. He did have a really fast qualifier, but he was sort of more off the pace than on the pace, I would say. And even in the semi-final, didn't look very special. And then only started like 6th or 7th in the main. So up until the main, he wasn't really featuring that much like you're used to seeing him. He was searching. I don't know. Then the long main comes along and sort of at the back, mid-pack, and then him and David actually worked up through the pack throughout the race. So, yeah, clearly made a statement that he will be one of the contenders at this Worlds also.
Do you think he can win it?
Yeah, of course he can. I think, yeah, when Max comes back, we can discuss that, like who we think the real contenders are for the Worlds. But, yeah, he definitely can win.
Let's talk about the track. So are they planning on doing some changes to the track?
Yes. So I don't know how to say a percentage, but most of the track surface and the features will remain the same, but they change how the layout goes. Yeah. So the layout change will actually change the flow of the track quite a lot. So it will be a lot slower, more technical. You know, those hills that you drove all the way up the hill, all the way down the hill, like they will basically be removed. So you just go, you know, halfway and then you turn and then you come from below halfway. And so it does change quite a lot with the way they change the layout. But most, you know, the sort of elevation steps in the track are the same. Obviously, all the concrete and stone sections are the same. You drive them the same. The jumps, mostly same in the same places. But instead of maybe doing all the jumps in a row, after the first big double, you turn, and then you do the other jump later in the lap. So yeah, they are going to change it.
Do you think we're going to see plus
60-second
laps at this race?
Oh, that's
it is slower.
Good question.
It is going to be slower.
I think that this layout will actually be slower, but not that much slower.
Okay.
So, I don't think we will see over 60-second laps.
All right. What about the surface, though? Because the surface was a little bit weird this week as well, correct?
I thought it was fine. I think that for the Worlds, they will try to put a bit more glue, I think they used, so that it would stay together a bit better. I would prefer it if the surface was as it was now. I liked it because it broke up. It wasn't all sort of glued track. And also because it broke up a bit, there was more dust, which lowered the grip. So, yeah, I think that's what we're going to see. I think it will start off super smooth, super high grip, and then it will start breaking up a bit. The grip will go down a bit, and that's how it will be then throughout the week. I hope they don't fix too much of it if it does start breaking up.
And how long is this Worlds again?
From
I actually
Saturday
don't
to
know.
Saturday, I think. I think
I
it's
need-
from Saturday or Sunday to Saturday. So it's
Yeah,
at
I
least a
need
week.
to get a definite answer on that when the first day is.
And is it happening? Because I know at some point you was like, it might not be happening.
The Worlds is definitely happening, yeah.
All
Yeah,
right,
there's
good.
no questions.
Good. Who else impressed you at this track, at this race?
Yeah,
Boots,
so yeah, it was actually funny because in qualifying or after qualifying, I said we were in the pits and I said, "Hey, you know who's actually been doing better than he has in the recent years? Like who is actually doing better now, like outperforming what he's been doing?" And I asked Max and David, and they didn't get who I was thinking about. And then I said, "Boots, he's actually doing like better. He looks better than he has
In a long time.
and they were actually kind of skeptical. I think Max and David, like, whatever, like 7, 9, whatever, qualifying in each round, like barely in the top 10. But I think it was because I marshaled for his race, so I saw him driving, and he just looked like solid. And then he actually improved also for the semi-final and the main. Like he was really good. So I don't know. Maybe this track, the way it is, the size, the speed you hit stuff, it suits him because he was. Yes, he got a bit of a gift when Robert and David both had server failures, but he won the Euros. You know, he was up there. He was in the right place at the right time. He was good here. And maybe there's like a good mojo for him at this track. So let's see what he can do at the Worlds.
Let's see how Ricardo Berton, a threat or no?
Yeah, maybe we should do that. Like, list the drivers who we actually think like are the most likely Worlds winners. Who are the actual guys?
Okay. Do you think Berton is a threat?
I
think
really.
No. I would say for the actual threat to win, I would put Ongaro. Like threat to win with no one having issues and everyone's race going great, and then one guy wins, right? I would say Ongaro and Ronnefalk, definitely. I would say Tessman, even though his main didn't go right now this time. I would still say Tessman, and I would also say Mayfield because you can't count him out. And after that, it gets harder. Can you, Max, think of anyone other than those four?
I think Fenn's going to be good here.
I don't really. The thing is, I don't think Fend has the ability to, because on this track, yes, he's going to be good, but that one mistakes he makes in America somewhere, that's going to cost him a lot more here.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah,
because Ongaro, not even one mistake in the main, I don't think. Very few like mistakes, whereas Fend has a guaranteed mistake or two per main. Like, no matter how easy the track is, that's just how, because he drives so punched. But I'd still say on top of Mayfield, Tessman, David, and Davide, Canas is a real threat.
Oh yeah,
his only issue.
I forgot.
His only issue is reliability. to get his engine running the way he wants, to pick the right tire, for him to be confident and driving his best. There are so many things that can put him off, like happened here. He was so good in qualifying, and then in issue in the semi and in the main, he wasn't really in the fight, because even though he started last, yes, David and Tessman were right there with him after they crashed in the first lap. So Ganassi is a much more unstable from like Mayfield, because let's put it this way. I can't remember a World's main where Mayfield hasn't led. 2014 he led before he broke. 2018 he led for the first tank. 2012.
2016 he didn't lead anything.
2016 he didn't lead, but 2010, 2008, like almost every World he's attended, he's led the main at some point. Or if he's not, he's been in the top 3 at some point. So Mayfield is a clear pick. Tessman as well. But I'd still say Davide and David have an advantage in the main. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tessman TQ, but I'd be surprised him to dominate like he looks like, because he TQ 2018, but in the main he couldn't challenge.
Yeah, I would say the only driver that I could still add as a sort of dark horse is Coelho. So if for the Worlds he practices a lot and he's in tune with the car and they nail the setup, then I could see that. Like everyone could have a great race up front, all the top players are there, and he could win. Like I could see that happening. So I could add him there.
And if they glue the track a little bit more, I think that would be in his favor as well.
Yeah, also.
How about let's talk about Robert, because Robert was doing pretty good at this race. He didn't have the main probably that he wanted.
So I would say that Robert is one of the drivers who is in that next group. And that's also where I would put Berton, who this discussion started from. So
how about the
Robert
Killix?
and no, I wouldn't put them in the next group yet. So I would put Robert there. I would put Berton there. I would put Fend even there. I would put Baruffolo. I don't know Baruffolo. Not
Cole Ogden I'd put there.
No.
Let me explain why. Let me explain why, please.
Boots even I would put there in that group.
Okay. For this race, yes.
Yeah.
I agree with Boots.
But
why
what
say
I mean
Cole
is this
Ogden?
group. Wait. Before you say that, let me explain what I mean by this group. This is the kind of guys who could win, but I would be surprised. And also, it would require special circumstances. It would require flame outs, servo failures, DQ, terrible start. It would require these and also super good stuff happening to them. Like it would require things happening throughout the event and the race, which benefited them, and then they won. That's my.
How about all right, so let's see.
You said Cole Ogden. You need to finish that.
Okay, so why I think Cole Ogden will do good. He's been to Europe more than these guys, I would say. He spent some time over there. I don't know if he's been to this track, Arce, but he's definitely right. But he's definitely spent some time on European tracks, and I think the way he drives as well, I think he will do well. Like, let's be honest. Like Cole Ogden went to Europe and he came back a better driver. You know, at that time.
But he's not doing that in America now, preparing for this race. So I don't see him doing it.
I think he will be. All right. So real quick, and then we'll move on, and then
let's finish that group. We have.
We're not finished.
We have Berton. Who do we have then? We have Berton, Boots, Robert, Fend. I'd put Cavalieri and Thibaut in there also.
If you put Thibaut, you have to put Baruffolo in there.
Yeah, I will put Thibaut in there. How about Cavalieri?
Yeah, I said Cavalieri.
Yeah, he said Cavalieri.
I think Cavalieri and Thibaut just from experience.
The thing about Baruffolo is if he's on it, because at this race,
I guess so,
a lot of the times he was on TQ pace, but then he was pushing so hard he made a very dumb mistake. But like I would be very, very surprised to see him sort of win the main without anyone breaking. just having a good run. I don't see that, but I do
No.
see him running in second or third, and then picking up the win
okay.
if
Yeah,
others
we
have
could
a
put him
mistake.
there. Anyone else like that? I mean, normally Kyle McBride would be there, but he was so
Yeah, what
far
happened
from
to Kyle?
anything good that I don't know. Like he needs to practice for the next 3 months.
He's
if he
not
wants to
racing
be
because
there.
he's not going to race against any competition in Australia at all.
I do think that hurts him because
Yes.
to me he was clearly just struggling with being sort of good enough. Not that he was having issues with tires or he was having issues with engine. To me, it looked like he was just not like he didn't understand what he needed to do with the car, and he didn't drive the car the way he normally does. And I think that's what even he said himself, that sort of it was a sort of what do you call it, a wake up call.
All right.
for him.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room, Oscar Baldo. So
Yeah,
right
sorry.
now,
We have to add him to that group too.
Yeah,
What
Baldo
about
is
his
on the
brother?
list of. No, he's on the list to make the main if something like everything.
so
goes
let's all right. So
amazing
let's
for
nip
him.
this in the butt because we have people already. What I want to know, JQ's opinion on home field advantage. Look at Oscar Baldo. He nearly won that race. He led it for so long. What's your thoughts on that, JQ?
I mean, like we said earlier, I think the world should be something that is special and one-off and no advantage to anyone.
Mhm.
But as it is now, there is a home advantage, yes. I think that at the end of the day, it's not going to matter. So I think if this was like Ronne Falks or Ongaros or Mayfield's home track and the layout had been the same for a long time, and it was a very unique track, okay, then we have a situation. But the chance of Oscar Baldo winning the Worlds, even with this advantage, they are minuscule, I would say.
And let's get this right.
Even with this performance at the warm-up, still, I think it's very unlikely.
But
so is it possible? Yeah, it's possible.
Yes.
And would it be possible on another track? No. I would say so. But is it likely? Very unlikely. Yeah, that's what I think.
All right. So
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
I got to talk about my favorite racer right now. Got to talk about him. Can Mason Fuller make the main at this race?
In the
I
main,
think so.
in the main,
I think
yeah,
Mason Fuller
sure.
makes the main.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's almost self-evident at this point. But
Yeah.
Fuller is the type of driver who I don't think I've ever seen him race in Europe. So he could be totally out of it. He could be like qualifying in the quarters or something. But then again, if he's comfortable with the car and they know what to do, then yeah, I don't see him having any issues. He should be there. Just like Ongaro. We remember Ongaro in 2016. He was in the main. He was in, I think, battling for third before he hit the pit lane entry and broke his body mount. And then he ended up finishing sixth. I don't see Fuller maybe being that impressive, but I do see him being there, top 5 battles, and seeing him being there. I have no reason to believe that he wouldn't.
Okay. What about Spencer this weekend? Not a good performance for him. What was up?
Yeah, we have to add Spencer to that list also, by the way.
Okay. So his performance this past
second
weekend doesn't affect his chances, you think, to be in that second group?
I mean, I think this being there helps him to be in that second group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He had a servo failure or something, right?
Yeah.
He had a brain failure.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah,
Saxton went completely fucking nuts in the pits.
Yeah,
after
they
that,
had
too.
a tough week. Their tires didn't arrive. They were really lost in setup. Everything almost went wrong for him. So I think
What
even
about the
better
J
chassis
Concepts
or something.
tires? Will they be good at this track? What do you think?
I heard Ongaro tried them and didn't like them, but
Yeah.
that's hearsay.
What about you, Jakey? What you think?
I mean, I think Mayfield will make them work somehow.
Yeah. The thing about Mayfield that J Concepts tires could suck and Mayfield would still be good with them.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah.
But
So you guys, I
I don't.
like.
I think I don't think they're going to be the best, but I have sort of no worries for someone like Mayfield. For someone like Fend and Fuller, not Fend, as Rivkin and Fuller, yes, I'd be slightly worried. But for Fender Mayfield, I don't think the tire is going to be an issue for them.
Well, what was the tire
light.
to be on this weekend then?
I'd say Amazonia, medium.
Hot race. So hot or hard. Hot race was really good. AK was really good. There was only one Proline driver there who tried some hot race.
Canas apparently ran slide locks. S2.
Oh, he did?
Yes, that's what I heard. And I think I heard it from others too, that he ran Proline slide locks S2.
Okay.
Sweet.
So him and Figueredo for running Proline.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. I think Sismic was good too. The scratch was good too. Yeah. The only issue was that they were slightly slower than hot race Amazonias. But they were slightly better on the dust. But I think for the Euros, that's actually, Baldo ran them. So for the Worlds, actually, I don't think I think it will favor the Amazonians even more if they add the glue, because the grip Weber had on the line was super good, and the steering that the Amazonian and the hot race tire had was good.
So now does this track close for a certain amount of time now, or how does that work?
I think it's 2 months before the event, but I'm not totally sure.
All right. Well, I think we have a special guest. I see his comment here. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to add before we move on and we have a talk with our special guest?
No.
Nope.
All right. Well, all welcome. The fabulous one, Barry Baker.
First off, I want to say that I'm making this disclaimer right now. Anything that I say, does not represent any company, or anybody that I have been involved with. This is my personal feelings, and that is it. So nobody can take this and say, I did anything. This is all me.
Right.
Okay.
Horizon.
All right. So
Negative.
What we're gonna so joining us, he was supposed to come on, but he's been wanting to come on, and you know what? He was so upset when he couldn't find me on Facebook, right? He asked around, where's Lefty? What happened to him? He erased his Facebook. But we would like to welcome the fabulous one, Barry Baker. What's up, Barry? How are you? First off,
hey, Lefty,
congratulations, Dakota Fen, complete domination this past weekend at Southern Nats, complete domination in Nitro. Congratulations.
Yeah, he ran well. I mean, it's he's been doing really well for the last 18 months or so. I mean, he's always done well. He's just, he's always been fast and speed, but now, with finishing races and making all the right decisions during the race. And we have him a good setup that is pretty consistent, at most every track now. So it's been good. I mean, he ran really well. I would have liked to have seen, everybody without having issues, but I mean, when you have a race like that, I mean, you're going to have issues by some drivers, and others. And I mean, we've had issues in the past, and it's just you pick up the pieces and you move on to the next race.
Well, I've said this on the podcast, and even Max kind of agrees to a point. I think he does. I have Dakota Fen right now in off-road as the best all-around driver. Because I think he's getting it done on 8 scale. He's killing it on 10 scale. You know what I mean? And he's racing a lot as well. I don't know how he balances like real life and the amount of races that he's got going on. But he's definitely improved. Definitely, you got a nationals win this weekend. His first 8 scale nationals, which was a great accomplishment because you should have had a few. You know what I mean by now, by bad luck for him. But that's racing. So congratulations. He's definitely on fire. And I think for me, he's on the list of some of the American racers that I think can possibly win the Worlds in September. I say that, and I mean that. So
it would be nice to be on that list. I think it's an uphill battle. but I think that, there's a handful of drivers that I personally think have a chance of winning the Worlds if everything goes right. But I mean, you got to remember that it all comes down to one 60-minute race. And just like with Canas at the warm-up race, I mean, what happens if something happens in the semifinal? He's lucky that they've added this last chance race in the last couple of years, because normally he'd be out of the race.
Yeah, for sure. Do they not have those IFMAR not still, or did they drop that? If you TQ, you're still not automatically in?
No, I don't think IFMAR ever had that, at least in HQ.
Was it? Correct me if I'm wrong, JQ, because you're pretty good on these rules and stuff like that. I think if you TQ and you go through the semi, and I think, I could be wrong, even if you don't get that, do you get the number 13 position on the grid? Or is that no?
It should be like
that. A long time
ago.
Yeah, it used to be that if you TQ, you go straight to the main, and then you don't run a semi. But now they have a last chance instead. But I still think this is an opportunity to plug new rule proposal. I think that TQ should go direct to the main and race the semi-final for start position. So even if they break, they're in the main. But they have to race the semi-final to secure a place on the grid. And then that semi-final that the TQ is in, they bump one more than the other one if the TQ is in a bump position.
Genius. I agree with you.
Then there would be a lot of value to being TQ, because you are safely in the main no matter what. But then you get the same amount of race practice as the others, and you're ready for your main after a semi-final. So
also at the same time on the track, because I mean, we all know that, I mean, Roar does it where it's like, oh, you have your A main warm-ups and things like that, and then these guys run the B main, or they have the semi-final warm-up, earlier in the day, and then they run the semifinals, but the TQ has run 3 hours ahead of that in the practice sessions or whatever. So it's not like, the track is going to be the same, but they're going to feel the same on the track, even though if they don't, do well or they break, at least they were on the track at the same time and have the same information moving towards the final.
Yeah.
I agree with you. They actually do that. Brandon Melton has a series like that in the Southeast, and that's how he did it. So if you TQ'd, you had to race your semi, and even if you broke, you started last. You started last in the main. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
And it gives TQ worth something, all that hard work, and you still can't make them. I mean, look at Boots, 2012.
Yeah.
TQs the Worlds and can't even, and breaks in the semi and doesn't even race. That's unfortunate. All right, Barry. So our rant was gonna be about I know you want to rant too, but we're gonna do that too, because you and Max and JQ want to rant. But I wanted to get your opinion on this because we talked about it. I think it might come from just we haven't had a Worlds in about 4 years now. I'm seeing a narrative where, in fact, I'm being asked this question: is the Worlds just another race? What makes the World so important? And does it really matter who wins the Worlds, or does it affect sales and all that type of stuff? And I understand also that you and I had this discussion where you don't like yes, I like the fact that the Worlds goes around the world. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying that the Worlds has to go to India and race there. You know what I mean? Because I think we need to race these races where there are a base of people where it can be supported. America, Asia, USA, Europe. I get it. It costs a lot of money to go to these races. But do you think that there is some downplay of the Worlds lately? Maybe, I don't know. It just seems like it. It seems like a narrative that I'm seeing within the industry.
Is this for me or for JQ or for?
Oh, you can go. I'll start with you. We'll go you, then Max, then JQ.
I think now with the world's not being for 4 years. And I think with COVID and nobody traveling around the world, that this world may mean a little bit more this year. But I think normally these guys are racing each other 5, 6, 7 times a year on the top guys.
Right.
Okay. They'll usually travel. Now, granted, I know you guys have had this conversation before. The Europeans will come over and race the DNC and the Silver State. The Americans may go over and race E-Buggy when it happened. But I mean, other than that, they don't go over to the Euros, you know, and the Europeans don't come over to the Nationals. So,
well, they can't. Well, either way, I don't think they can either. Has Tasman been to a Euros though?
He was there. He was there to work on Bruno's car one year.
But I think he actually participated in a Euros too.
No.
Okay, I'm wrong. Okay, I'm wrong.
So, but to answer your question and everything, I think on a normal, regular, bi-yearly Worlds, a lot of the feeling is it's just another big race. Even though it's a world title, it's just another big race because these guys are going out there. But I think this year it might mean a little bit more to some people. But I know when I was racing Worlds and I was racing, I mean, back when, you know, dinosaurs were around, I mean, we had, you know, when it was on-road stuff, I mean, we were racing, we were going to the Japanese Nationals, we were going over to Europe and running, you know, the LRP race. And I mean, we were doing, you know, BRCA stuff. So, I mean, we were traveling all around the world, racing each other a lot, having Reedy races in Europe, in Asia, in America. So, I mean, the Worlds itself, other than those races was I guess big because back then you only had 6, 7 races a year that were big. Now you have races every weekend that they're like, oh, it's the Southern Nationals in the US. I mean, you have how many English Nationals this year? And I mean, you just had a Finnish National, am I correct, last weekend or 2 weekends ago before you had the Worlds Warm Up. So everybody has races, like everybody's looking to race every weekend now, where before it was like people would go and they'd do their little club races and then they'd have the big races. But I think this year is kind of important. And I know that Dakota will be there in Renovan. So,
yeah, I think he should be there. I can't wait.
Well, I just spoke to him last night. So he's going.
Well, and also Spain has dropped. I know there's, you know, look, I give Tebow a lot of respect for what he said. He says, I'm not going because, I ain't go until they relax their vaccine laws.
Why would you give respect for someone being an idiot?
No, I give respect for somebody saying what they believe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if they believe something stupid, why would you respect that?
Because at least he has the balls to say it. He has the balls
and
to
I believe
say
smart things.
It even says in your name right there, village idiot.
I get... You know, look, what I give him respect for is everybody's dancing around the subject, and Tebow came right out and said it. And we all know
that you can give respect for.
We all know that
that's called being honest.
Right. We all know that that's a big issue with some of these guys. And that's fine. I don't want to get in that side of things. I don't care about that. But Spain has lifted the vaccine requirements. So I don't think there's any excuses now. I think we should see, I'm not saying that every 100% guy is going to be there. But I definitely think we should see the top 2, at least 2 drivers from each of these teams to go over their race. But I guess for me, the Worlds is the one race where we get no, because like you said, Barry, back in the day, you guys were traveling to different races. You listen to Greg. He went to Europe a lot. He would say, we went to Europe to get better. You know what I mean? And race on their tracks and all that type of stuff. But now we don't have that anymore. So this race, the DNC, are probably the 2 races that we get to see the Americans, the Europeans, the Asians come over and race. And that's, for me, is why it's a big deal.
Yeah, that's the big question is how many Asians are going to come to the race?
I don't know.
I mean, is there right now, who would you consider that would be competitive, you know, coming out of the Asian market? Jake, you would know that a little bit more.
No.
I
think he's the only one.
Yeah. So
I think Alex can do well too. Bernard, Zach, but we'll see. He's a
Yeah,
young
but
Australian
he's not
associated
like
driver.
yeah, but he's not like main and in top 5. I don't think.
Right, right.
Because,
He's
like,
never
his
raced
first big
internationally,
race,
but not
yeah,
many.
big first
But not
race.
I mean,
many at all.
don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking anybody in this world.
Mhm.
Trust me, because everybody knows that in this given day, there's a handful of people that can, with no issues at all, they're going to be contenders. But then you can take 25, 30 people that can fill up the rest of the main on a perfect day.
Yeah. I would agree there. I would agree
agree.
there.
So to get back to your question, actual question was the downplaying of the importance of the Worlds. And yes, it's happening. But here's the reason why. The reason why it's happening is that Americans feel that they can't win. So they are downplaying the importance. And this has happened before also. The reason Americans feel that they can't win is because it's in Spain on a Spanish permanent track. Europeans are very fast, as we know. Even when Europeans go to America, they are competitive. But Americans don't tend to come to Europe. The only time they come is if it's a Worlds or if it's Neo. Neo was a track that was built for the race, US style, in Europe. It favored the Americans a lot more than the Europeans. We never see Americans coming to a Euro style European track. We don't see that because throughout history, when that has happened, they have been at a disadvantage. So that's what they feel now. Now, I think that while there is some truth to it, it doesn't apply to the best drivers in America. Okay, so like Barry said, that there are those 5 guys who are the elite, and then 25 who can make the main on a good day. It applies to those 25 guys, right? The elite guys will be elite no matter what. Mayfield, Fenn, these guys, they will be there, right? No matter what the track is, or if the track has been there 10 years with the same layout. It doesn't matter. They're going to be there for the Worlds. The guys after that, they are the ones who might get beat by someone they've never heard of. Like some guy like Cole Ogden goes there and he's never heard of Oscar Balder, and Balder laps him. Those kind of things. That's why I think that there's this downplaying of the importance of the Worlds. Like, it's not so important. We don't need to go. It's just a case of Americans not feeling like they are as competitive as they should be. And that's why they feel it's not important. And an anecdote, back in 2014, when Mayfield hadn't won a Worlds yet, he was yet again leading a Worlds final, and he broke a servo. And then at the banquet, he had some beers, and we were talking, and I remember he said, does it really matter if he never wins a Worlds? Like, Drake never won a Worlds, and people respect him and stuff like that. The talk was about, basically, like, it was clear that the Worlds was a painful subject on his mind. Like, he hasn't won a Worlds. Is it really a big deal? He was trying to make it seem like it's not a big deal. And then I said, you know what? Like, Worlds is the one race where everyone goes, everyone wants to win it, everyone focuses. One day you'll win it, and it will be worth it. Like, it's a big deal. To be able to say that you're world champion versus to be able to say that I won a lot of races, just not a world championship, it's a big deal. Like, people who try to make it sound like Degani just won one race, which happened to be a world championship, they say that, I think, partly because they're a bit jealous, because he is a world champion. He can always say that he is a world champion. And there are many people who tried their whole careers and never won a world championship. So if you do only win one race, then the Worlds is the race that it should be. Because if there is a driver out there who won one race and it was DNC, fuck, no one cares. No one ever heard of that guy. But if one guy wins one race and he's a world champion, like Surikant Chaida Surya from Thailand, who won the Touring Car World Championships, why the fuck do I know who he is? Because he won a world championship. Sorry, Barry. Weren't you second there? I think that's the race Barry was going to win, but he crashed.
42 seconds away.
Yeah. So I didn't bring that up because of that.
It's
that.
okay. Being vice champion 3 times is okay.
Yeah.
Vice champion.
Exactly. But my point is that the Worlds does matter, and it's a big deal. And when it goes back to America, then I'm sure all the Americans will suddenly care again. So that's my opinion.
Can I add on to that? I think the last 2 years of not having any European racing has also, because it was starting to get popular in America. RC Racing TV, a lot more Americans were following the Euros and stuff like that. And, obviously with a lot of the Europeans coming over, I think the 2 years of not having it has kind of, people have forgotten about it. And I think, I really think this. I think that without having a functioning, proper federation in America, that it's like people are saying, like, why should I care about this federation? You know what I mean? Because we got these races, we got all these races and whatnot that we can go to and we can go have fun. And these guys win that. I think that those two kind of add in there because there is no real federation representation in America at this moment. You know what I mean?
But
go ahead.
What I will say is, I do think that IFMAR need to step up a bit. So the World Championship, it should be the one event every 2 years that is truly an event. All the best drivers go. We have awesome media coverage, and it's at a track or facility that is either just built for the Worlds or it's an existing track which is completely redone for the Worlds. And the reason is that it's so stupid to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on all of this, practicing before and having a warm-up and doing this and doing. Why? It's supposed to be one World Championship. Let's just make it so. We minimize the advantage anyone has. If Radovan had like 100% new layout, like really new layout, that advantage would pretty much be gone. The advantage they have now is because most of the layout will be the same. And it's such a massive track. When you have big sections of the track that are the same, it is an advantage, okay? So we wouldn't need any warm-up races. We wouldn't need practice sessions if we were able to make it so the World Championships would be a special event, unique in the RC world, just created for that event. If IFMAR was working properly, that's what they would do. And it could also be a showcase of RC racing for, that local region. So it would be somewhere where people can walk up and see it and experience it. And it's a World Championship, so it generates more interest because of that. A World Championship in anything will get you interested, right? At least for a moment, and maybe you'll go check it out. So that's what
I agree, JQ, because if you look, once again, I don't think maybe Max was, very small, or I don't know how old you are, Max. Back in 2000, when Richard had the Worlds at the Silverton, they brought in a bunch of dirt. It was right there next to the freeway. People were seeing this, off the side of the freeway. What's that over there? It was an event over there, and it was in Vegas. It's like, I think I had this conversation with you this week, Lefty, about that. I think that World Championships should be at non-permanent facilities.
Yeah.
Now, granted, by doing that, the cost is going to come up. There's going to be a lot of things, but it's a World Championship. It should be something special. And not just at a track that's 100 miles out of the way that you have to fly into somewhere and drive for 6 hours to get to. And the only people that can see it are the animals that are around the track. And you have a 45-minute drive to some hotel that is, serves, one meal. And because I've been to those,
right?
I've been to those races, and they're wondering why there's no spectators.
Yeah, and also the Worlds is a race that you could get the funding to do it, because if the federations pulled together and actually spent their money on something positive for RC, that would be something, actually making a good world championships. And yeah, I think in this day and age, it should be possible to do. Make the world championship a true event, make it something that's spectator friendly and special and unique for everyone. So there's no warm-ups, there's no practice sessions. We all go there, we race, and the best driver wins.
I agree. Max, what do you want to say? You've been quiet.
Nothing really. I mean, I agree with everything. The Worlds should be the one race to win, and it's silly to say it's not really. So, yeah, I agree with pretty much everything they said.
All right, cool. Barry.
That's the first.
So let me tell you this. So so obviously you guys know my Facebook went missing. Barry was looking for me because he I know what he wanted to say. You and Brent wanted to talk to me too because this week I said that Mayfield or Fenn wasn't gonna win. Now remember I've been banned from picking Fenn number one because they say I jinx him. So
that does absolutely nothing.
Every time I pick Fenn, he loses. Every time.
So just continue to keep not picking him, and
exactly. So I don't pick him. So that was like my reverse psycho. I did want Mason Fuller to win. I'm not gonna lie. I thought he was gonna win a good second, but I think he started too late. What's clicked with Fenn?
I think that, quite honestly, I think that communication, we have people that are involved in the program now that the communication is a lot better. I think that people understand what he's looking for now. I know that I can speak to him and understand when he comes off the track. He has trust in me to make changes, which JQ knows that's a big deal when you're working with a top class driver. They have to have trust that when you're talking to them, that they understand that, okay, they may be driving the car, but you're seeing something and you're saying, look, this can help out. And they have to be able to be willing with an open mind to go out and go on the track and drive things. But I think the biggest thing is maturity is one. I think he's finally got to the point where he realizes that a 10 scale car is a 10 scale car and an 8 scale race is an 8 scale race. And you don't drive the 8 scale car at 100% for the 60 minutes. You drive it at a pace to manage it for 60 minutes. And you don't have to go balls to the wall to win races. Yeah, in qualifying you do because that's it. But when you get out to a 22-second lead, you manage that lead. I think years ago, he's trying to lap the field. So JQ's smiling.
No, JQ.
What do you have to say to that, JQ?
All right. So this is what we really. I know this is why Barry wanted to come on. So
no, I want to hear what he's thinking. I mean, when somebody smiles like that,
no, because he's got something good. He goes, Baker about to cause irreparable damage. That's what he wrote down. It's like you have a banner. I don't know if you can see it. So I have a ticker.
You can't see it.
I have a ticker that goes on the bottom that promotes my sponsors, and you can put different banners there. So JQ is me and JQ. What?
I'm not going to cause any damage. I'm just going to state the facts. Like JQ always says, okay, I watch these things. I laugh about them. I laugh. He always says, look, I'm just stating facts.
Here we go.
Okay. Which is fine. He can state facts. He's coined a phrase that I don't like, but hey, it's the way it is.
What was that?
With fending.
Oh, fending.
Yeah, but we kind of that fit. We don't say that no more. I think fending now is turning into.
We do say it. We'll say it until he stops.
I think he's I think he's proved himself. Has he not lately? I mean, it's been a good year where he's finishing races. I mean, the thing that happened at Silver State and Truggy was out of his control, was out of everybody's control. and he was walking away with the Truggy race. And I know you guys don't like to talk about Truggy. We'll talk about Buggy, the real class, the real class of Nitro racing. You know, but there's been what's that?
No one cares about Truggy. There's no worlds.
Oh. There's no worlds in E-Buggy either, but I mean,
it should be though.
It pays the bills. But I'm just saying that, you know, there's things that have happened that have been out of control, and there's things that, you know, that don't happen. So, you know, that are in his control. And I mean, I think we saw that maybe 2 years ago, where, I mean, I'll take the blame for the DNC in the main because I made a change and his car was very aggressive in the main at Thunder Alley.
What did you change?
I just made a stupid move, and I'm not going to talk about it, but it made the car too aggressive. It was a mistake on my part.
You didn't put an HP rear end on like S-Works.
Hey, more power to them. If they can get away with it and S-Works is letting them do that, the factory, hey, more power to them.
Anyway, before we get too far away from this subject, you said I coined a phrase. Actually, I'm a bit hurt because I think that these guys should actually thank me, because I'm like a pro bono psychologist. So I coined the phrase CTO, coil takeout, for this like ridiculous, like, hey, there's a fucking car there. You can't just go full speed into the corner. Like, if this is your normal pace, you can't do your normal pace. Slow the fuck down. There's a car there, right? That's where the whole CTO thing came, because Coelho would just like drive around the track like no one existed, like cars flying everywhere. Like, oh, fuck, like he slowed down. Yeah, no shit, he slowed down. You should slow down a bit more, you know? Like, that was my whole thing. And look what's happened. Coelho has matured as a racer, and he is now aware of other cars and situations on the track. So he doesn't go full speed everywhere. He sort of takes, he actually brakes now, you know, to avoid.
Do you really think that was because of you?
I guarantee it. So now,
or do you think maybe it's maturity, which you should try doing?
Well, let me finish. So now, Fend was the next subject. I mean, he kept flying off the track, and it was getting a bit ridiculous. So got the whole fending thing started, and people started fending all over the world. And now it hit him. Now, you know what? I have to stop fending. We need.
Can I tell you something?
So it doesn't fend me.
He doesn't listen to you. He doesn't care.
Oh,
that's the thing.
That's what they all say.
It's me who cares. It's me who. I'm a very emotional person. I think you know that from.
Just like Coelho didn't listen. Yes, exactly. And I know how it is.
Care about things.
I know. So anyway, I don't know who the next one will be, but we'll figure it out.
I've only seen Fenn get upset once, and that was after DNC this year, and I went up to talk to him, and the first thing he goes to me, did you see it? And I've never heard him swear, and he's like, did you see how effing rough those guys were driving out there? And I was like, I know. I've never seen him upset until that day, and then he was like, all right, let's have a talk with it. So he gets upset too, but continue, because I know Max wants to say something, and you want to say something to Max, your son, because look, I'm not calling you. Somebody called Max Barry's son. That's what they called him.
Okay, I would have left him at the hospital. It's okay.
I want to know why Barry is so mad at his son. Like, what happened?
Okay, first off, JQ, he is literally more your son than anybody else. Okay. I think he spent more time hanging from you than anybody else. So I refuse to.
Anyway, what did he do? What happened? What caused this?
No one's wanting to adopt me now.
Yeah, there's a multitude of things. I think discussions that he had. I honestly, there are times where I just shake my head and go, does this guy really even know what he's talking about? Now, I will give him this much credit, and I'm giving you a compliment here, okay? And I know your head's already big, so don't make it any bigger. But when it comes to the knowledge of the history of RC, you are pretty good. I will give you that much.
That not set up advice.
That's what he wants set up. He wants set up accolades.
I think when you start talking about you start talking about stored energy. Everything in the freaking world has stored energy. Don't start talking about springs with stored energy and all this other stuff. You're not a physicist. You do not know this. Okay? I can walk around a lab and show you equipment that I can show you reports of stored energy in certain, dynamics of science. Don't start talking about things where you heard a word and you're just going to use it the next time that you talk about something.
No, but I said it's kind of like when I did the video. I didn't say it was stored energy.
Yeah, but who did you hear it from? Because you just repeated it.
I translated it from Finnish, from potential.
Okay, well, you translated it wrong. But
no, but it is. It's potential energy.
That's it. He said stored energy. I'm sure that's not why you're mad.
There's multiple things. There's reviewing of races. You weren't there. You can't see from a video every little thing that's going on. All you can review about races is how the race went, but you're saying, oh, his car's totally not set up right. This is wrong.
I want to ask one
this
thing.
Needs to be done. Well, no, you asked a question. Let me finish.
Let him finish.
Don't try to butt in. I will. You asked the question. JQ sitting up here. I have the same kind of rant for JQ because you guys both, when you start reviewing races, it's like, dude, you weren't there. You guys are like, well, if Mayfield would have started right behind this, and if he would have been there, as you see, the time hasn't shrunk at all. Well, how did he get so far behind? Because he crashed on his own. Okay.
That was from SIC, Max. That was from SIC.
Okay.
Yeah.
So don't tell me that his pace was there if he wouldn't have crashed. Okay.
Oh, yeah, but that's not my I'm not analyzing why the race ended up that way at that point. I'm analyzing who had the best speed, and because we were predicting results from DNC, and it happened exactly like I said. Fendt looked very good at SIC, a flat track, got a good start. Mayfield looks strong, but DNC is sort of home race, and who happened to win? Mayfield, just like I said. So I get your frustration, but it is frustrating when someone else is always right. No, okay, but seriously.
Oh my God!
Hey, were you right last weekend being a Mayfield fanboy?
Did I predict him for the win? I don't know.
Yes, you did. You didn't even predict Fend in the top 3, so it's okay.
What happened?
I didn't. Mayfield? I don't know. He flamed out or something, and then the guy just fucking threw his car into the pits, and I don't know what the fuck he was doing, but
I just know that after he went to go clear the first double, he hit his rear tires on the first double, and it flipped his car over, and he was back in the back of the pack.
Yeah,
and he was
I think Mayfield car looked a bit too stiff. So yeah. But actually,
maybe if you worked on it, maybe if you went and bet it was his mechanic, that he'd win every race.
There you go.
Maybe,
Max.
who knows? But yeah, I have someone else has said it, like, how do you know how this race was like? Because you weren't there, and I tell him, okay, what did I say wrong then? Because most of the times I'm correct. Like Dakota Fend at DNC 2020, wasn't his engine lean in the main, right? It was lean in the main. He flamed out in the back.
He flamed out in the short chute going up to the whoop section.
Yes. Yeah.
And then his car was very aggressive as well because of mistake that I made. But I still think that, at that point, it was a mistake.
Okay, I'm gonna predict. So Barry, if I'm right on this one, you raised the rear roll center.
I did not touch the rear end. It was all in the front.
Okay. So then you raised the front roll center.
I made a mistake.
Yes. I think that was a yes. But yeah. But the thing is, like, I might not be at the race, but am I not right? His car was too edgy, maybe too high of a roll center, and his engine was lean. That's why when he went over the lid, and then he blew a glow plug. That's not correct.
I just get upset. I get upset. Okay. I'm not going to say that you're always 100% wrong. I'm not going to say that you're always 100% right, because I don't think there's anybody out there. I think JQ makes some very good points, And I've told him that in conversations, but I also think sometimes he is the village idiot and he does things just to get a rise out of people. I think he likes that. Him and Dagani are like married that way. You know, they literally say things to get rises out of people, and that's fine. Okay. But back to you, Max. I don't think you're always wrong. I don't think you're always right. But I also think that you try to push these things on people and think that you are right and everything. And you just got to be open-minded about things, you know, and you got to say but there's times where you're like, well, if this person wouldn't have done this, you're right. But you know what? They did do that. So reprimand them for that. Okay. Give people credit. Okay. Whether it's JQ, whether it's Lefty, whether it's yourself, JQ should give you credit. I mean, hey, if you were full mechanic on David's car and JQ was the vice mechanic this weekend, I mean, cool. He got second. You did well. That he got second.
I was actually at the hospital.
Max was at the hospital during the main. He got heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, you know, it's
but I mean, actually,
give credit where credit is due. Don't beat down people. You guys, both of you, like to show the negatives, and it's very rare that you guys give the positives.
Yeah, that's actually, I know, like I recognize that thing about myself, and every time after a podcast I'm like, okay, I talk shit about everyone, but that's the sort of the way I think about stuff. I'm not very emotional. I just think if this went right, it's fine, and then something went wrong, that's what we're going to talk about. And Joseph is very similar in that manner, whereas you, as you said, you're much more emotional that way. So yeah, I do recognize that.
I tell this to everybody all the time, and I'm going to say this on a podcast, okay? JQ, when he is not like in a podcast or being negative, like literally at the track, JQ is fun to hang around. He's fun at the track and stuff like that. You are
also fun online.
Yeah, you are fun online, but you get to the point where I think you say the wrong things. And I agree. Myself, I say the wrong things. Sometimes I need to think about it before I say things. I've opened my mouth way too quickly before. And I think that's a problem. Yeah. And it gets to be where, what did this person say? Why did this person say that? So that's the reason I get upset sometimes. I wish you guys would just give credit instead of being fanboys.
But we did give credit. Like, I believe when Fenn won the Nationals, I was like, yeah, it's fucking awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and all Max said was the whole time of reviewing that race was how Mayfield should get all the credit because this is a track that the Mugen car shouldn't work on, and that he drove his butt off to stay there because, you know, this and everything else. How about Fenn defending? I mean, they both made mistakes. The track was tricky. I mean, I ran the track like, 30 minutes before that main, and I'm like, there were potholes out there. Okay. And you didn't know where they were at. And every time Mayfield would get close to him, he'd make a mistake. Then Dakota would make a mistake. And I mean, they went back and forth doing this. But all you kept saying was, you really got to give Mayfield credit for this because, that's the kind of track that car shouldn't work on. And I think Mayfield proved to you that he can make anything work at any track. And he is such a good driver, just like Dakota, just like David, just like Ongaro. Okay.
But I've said all that. I've said they're all very good drivers.
But they can take any car and get around the track. And it all comes down to who minimizes mistakes, in my opinion.
I don't agree with that.
I think that what we have sort of pointed out, actually, for the credit thing, everyone always says I don't give credit.
He does not give any credit, Barry.
Praise or all that shit. Like,
I don't think people are looking for praise, but I think if you gave, because like myself, I'm just saying right now that it's all the negative things that you say. That's the reason why people don't like people, is because all they do is say negative stuff.
You need to understand that we are Finnish. So
yeah, so I acknowledge I don't do that, but the reason people watch the YouTube videos I do is, I think, because they learn something. So no one can learn anything if I just say that, oh, Fen drove really well, he's an awesome driver. But if I break down something like, oh, watch this technique he has when he jumps or lands or something, okay, you can learn something. But very often the way to learn is from things that go wrong. And that has to, because I mainly talk about car setup, not driving. So when there is some negative aspect to a car handling, then I can pinpoint that and explain why it happens. And it just so happens that this brand that I can't mention, so they don't send me another cease and desist, they have a car that has some very prominent features that I can highlight in my videos. It's not my fault. I don't know who designed the car, but it just so happens that when Fend is using his extreme skills and talents on the track, things go wrong. And I'm able to highlight them while still appreciating his driving skill and giving him credit for being good. I can say that this keeps going wrong. Why does this keep going wrong? He's very good, and I can explain why. So I understand that that's something that you don't appreciate, that I do. But it's nothing personal. It's just how things panned out. Like if the Mugen had these issues and Mayfield was doing this, and Mayfielding was the term instead of fending, that's how it would be. But now the world is this way, and I live in this world, and I have to
let me ask you an honest
accept
question.
reality. Yeah.
Honest question right now, okay?
Yes.
If you know what makes a car work or doesn't work, shouldn't you have the greatest thing on the planet and everybody should be winning with your stuff?
Honestly, I
shouldn't
think
you?
that I do.
No, you don't.
I honestly think that I do.
You show me who has improved with your car. Okay, honestly, just show me. Alex Zankatine, same positions he was always in with whatever car he's driven. Okay, you're still beating Max. Now, granted, I think you should have done better at the World's Warm-Up than you did.
I don't
and
think
I think
that
you
that's
could put David. I think you can put David Ronafalk in any car, okay, and go around the track and be really fast. I really do.
No,
because
we
I
actually
think
are
you could
gonna have a YouTube live about this very subject, but it's not the case.
I'm not trying to beat you down,
that,
JQ. I'm just trying to say that you say that you can pinpoint these things that are wrong with cars. Okay,
yeah, I think I can. So I'll explain.
And I'm not disagreeing that you're not good at what you do when it comes to stuff. I've seen your cars go around the track. I've told you your cars look great going around the track. Okay. I think when you drive a car and you drive it and you feel it, yeah, you can do that. But there's some times where you have to be able to discuss with people and they drive different than you. So you have to make a car that's tunable for everybody.
Yeah, that's why I say that I have the best. So
yeah, exactly.
I think there are two different things happening. So there's the car that needs to be better than the driver. Okay, so the car makes up for the lack of skill of the driver. So it has to be very stable and comfortable. That's what most people need, right? And then the elite drivers need something that's very specific for them. So you have to be able to adjust it and tune it to exactly what they naturally do, so they don't have to compensate. And that's when they perform at their best. So those are two different things. So I think that right now, the Mayako buggy for 98% of everyone in the world is very good. It's very stable. The front end doesn't catch stuff. It doesn't want to just flip over. It doesn't fend the drivers that easily. So that's a very positive thing, I think. Also, the drivetrain is very durable. So overall, easy to walk on. It's a very good car. Is it much better than the other best cars on the market? No, it's not. It's close to the same performance, I would say. But where the Mayako buggy is different to the others is that when you have an elite driver driving it, it is possible to fine-tune it to what that driver requires. That's where it's different, in my opinion. And to work with someone like David, we've only done a few races. He has barely driven in Sweden. We haven't reached that point yet to where we've tested everything and really figured out what he needs. This World's warm-up race was very good because I learned a lot about what he needs, because I understand from a designer's perspective the engineering of the car, and he understands the driving, and Adrian understands the sort of setup without understanding the theory behind it, I would say. So when you have all those three different points of view, and you need to sort of put them together so everyone speaks the same language and everyone understands the same things, then you can go ahead and really maximize the performance. And we are able to do that within what the Mayako buggy has to offer. So that adjustment windows and ranges, that things that you can change, are suitable. So that's why I said that I think that, yeah, the Mayako is now the best car.
And you're going to
my
have
honest
that
opinion. I've never said that, I think, about any of my other cars before.
But you're going to have that opinion. But I'm sure that if somebody wanted to, an engineer wanted to pinpoint something wrong with your car, you would kind of get offended saying, no, it's not it.
Well,
I think that's everybody out there.
I agree.
I think that wrong is maybe the wrong word. So, because car design, it's not really.
How about not optimized?
Right and wrong, and not optimized either. So, car design and setup is always about compromise, because you have to choose what to compromise more over something else. Right?
100% correct with that. How many times have you had somebody say that they need something and you're like, well, you're going to get this, but you're going to lose this. You can't gain everything at once. It's not going to happen.
I think that where disagreements would come up is when it's a question of what I decided to compromise, or maybe rather what I decided to emphasize. So, okay, just as an example, like, okay, narrow pivot width and longer arm. Okay, that was the decision. Now, if you have a wider pivot and a short arm, you have more natural corner speed. So that's a design decision that you make. It's not right or wrong. You have arguments for both. So those sorts of things, I'm sure there's people who would disagree with the choice. But every choice like that I have made on this car is one that I made, not one that someone won a Worlds and had 17.5 degrees caster and I made it because they won the Worlds. You know, there's not one single decision made that is something like that. Every single decision is one that I thought about and decided that I think this is best.
Okay, I'm not down talking you or your car. Trust me on this. My only comment, which started all of this, was if you can nitpick everybody's car, your car should be perfect. And it's not about that either. But there's still little things that somebody is not going to like about them. Somebody may pick your car up and say, I don't like this car. And you're going to say, why not? Right? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? Have you tried this? Because you've made it to where it's tunable. And it's the same thing. But if you don't have people that are knowledgeable, okay, that can give advice, okay, and that just go and think that they're going to be able to put let's say for the other companies, somebody else's number one driver setup on the car, okay, and be able to think they're going to be able to drive that thing. How many times have you seen that happen?
Well, first of all, the performance or how good the Mayako buggy is not really relevant to my ability to explain how certain cars handle. So if I look at a TLR, I can explain why it drives a certain way or why the HB drives in a different way to that, or why an associated drives the way it does. I can explain that. I can look at the car design and I can give you an explanation for why the car has certain characteristics or tendencies. And that's separate to how good the Mayako buggy actually is. So those two are not connected that strongly, I think. Now, it does, however, follow that if I can do that for other cars, if I can explain why cars handle certain ways, then I should also be able to pick the appropriate design choices, put it together in a car that handles the way I want, right? And I think that I have done that. I can explain also why the Mayako drives the way it does. But you saying that it should be perfect for who? Perfect for what track, what skill level, what condition? You can't make that. If I made a car that was perfect for Ronnefalk, most likely most drivers in the world would hate it.
Correct.
Because they couldn't drive it, right?
Correct.
Even good drivers. So there are some very good drivers, even world champions, who pick up David's radio and can't drive the thing because their driving style is so different. Their requirements of the car are different. So when you say that the car should be perfect, that is the challenge, because you have to make a car that is very versatile. You have to make a car that is, while it's simple, it is also versatile enough. So no matter what the track condition or skill level, you can select the right options and apply that suitable setup for that condition, for that skill level, for that driving style. That's really the challenge. So there's never going to be a perfect car, but what there can be is a car that's very close as a base to begin with, and then has very detailed instructions and guides for what to do depending on what you want from it. And to have a base like that, you need to make it relatively neutral. You can't have something that's a far outlier, like the brand that I can't mention because I might get a cease and desist. That car design is made in a way where there are certain basic fundamental aspects to the design which are very extreme. When you do that, you'll lock yourself in. You can't get around the fact that this one thing is very extreme, right? And that's what causes problems in some conditions for some drivers. So, yeah, that's kind of what I think.
Cool. Barry, do you have anything else you want to say? Because we're going to do a little hot lap segment with you.
What's a hot lap segment? But
okay, so the hot lap segment.
I mean, JQ, I just want to say that I agree with you on the points that you made, okay? But I also know that when you say this stuff and you say, yeah, it needs to be adjusted and it needs to be changed and needs to be this and needs to be that, how many iterations have you gone through to bring out a production vehicle? And you've done this multiple times. It's not like you're going to hit everything on the head right away. So,
I mean, this was the first time I was able to make a new car since the first car I made. So back in 2009 or whenever, when I designed the original JQ car, the black edition, which was the last JQ car, still shared some parts. Gearboxes were the same. Steering parts were the same. Center diff mount, pretty much the same. Like a lot of the parts were actually the same. So this was the first time that I was able to design a car sort of from scratch. And well, we'll see how far it goes with this until I think something fundamental needs to be changed.
Well, I know you've. I mean, I watched you guys. I mean, I spent some time with you guys down at DNC with them there, and you made multiple changes with different, towers, things like that. I mean, it happens. This is what you do when you're learning a vehicle. These are the decisions that you're making. Now, are these option parts? Yes. So now you're giving you're giving people options to make the vehicle drive best for themselves. But what I was trying to say is at the start of this, before we get way too off kilter, okay, is that if you can nitpick everybody's car, then your first design should never need changes. Granted,
there will never be
it's not perfect for everybody. Okay, so when you nitpick a car, that just means that wasn't perfect for that. And I'm sure you could nitpick your car or the car that you can't say because of whatever. Okay, and you say there's some fundamental mistakes with it. Okay, that there's design flaws. Okay,
it's like I said, it's not necessarily mistakes or flaws. That's, I think, opinion, because there are conditions where it would be superior to all other cars if you can take advantage of them, because they are choices which pull the car in a certain direction, right? So then in certain conditions, that's an advantage. That will be something that's better than what the other cars have. And in those conditions, with that car and with a top driver, you should be able to win. But the thing is that we race on all kinds of different tracks. So when you have a car that's very specific and extreme in one direction, and especially if that condition only comes around like once in a blue moon, then you are mostly going to be at a slight disadvantage. And then once in a blue moon, you have an advantage. That's kind of my point. And that's the kind of things that I talk about when I look at other cars. I'm not talking about small things like, oh, it has a slight mid-corner push or something. No, I'm talking about like fundamental traits of the car and why it drives a certain way. And if someone wants to do the same about the Mayako, then great. I mean, that would be awesome. Someone makes a YouTube video about the Mayako car, I think it would be great, and then I could react to that. No one does.
Barry goes to me at Silver State. Tell Max, well, when the Gandhi was running 40 plus, tell Max, what did he say? Tell Max he goes, let me come on and do a review of the Gandhi's car. Oh my God, I was laughing my ass off there. It was like the whole TLR crew was right there, and it was just me. But and Eddie Lorette drove good. He drove good. But
but JQ, I appreciate your explanation. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, it really does. But I was just trying to make a point at the start, and I think you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, and I understand what you're trying to say as well. But there's people out there. But there's people out there that take things the wrong way, and I think a lot of times you're misunderstood by a lot of people. That it's not that you're being a donkey. It's just you're giving your opinion, and your opinion doesn't always mean that it's right or wrong. It's your opinion.
Yeah,
but one thing I sort of disagree on is like if me or Joseph said that something is flawed, or actually flawed is the wrong word, but some sort of philosophy of design is not the way I do it, or in my opinion optimal, it doesn't mean that my philosophy would be the best or optimal, really. Because I can say, yes, that rear end, I can actually say that rear end of the TLR, there are things that makes the car do something. I know there are advantages as well, but I pinpoint the things that I think are wrong, and the reason why I think other options are more valid or overall better. That's sort of the reason why I focus on the negatives, because when I look at a TLR, I understand why you do what you do, but I also understand why I don't think that's the right way to do things. and in my brain it's sort of it's self-evident what is good about it, but then that's why it seems like I focus on the negatives.
But to rebut that comment that you just made, okay, is it because you know the way things are supposed to work, or is it because this is stuff that you have learned from you being on the track?
It is both. So partly because I've tried it and I felt it, but partly because
Or
I know.
But somebody
No,
else
no,
may
no.
say that it works for them.
No, but that's the thing. I've taken that into account. I know some things are like, for example, I know if I set up the car for me, it's gonna be too much turn for Joseph. I know if I set up car for me, the rear end's gonna be too stiff and too dull for David. So I know what I'm doing, and I know, for example, this one thing I didn't like, that's something Joseph's gonna like, or that's something David's gonna like. But there are some very fundamental things like the rear end on the TLR, or the difference between a HP and TLR rear end, that are very fundamental to how the car actually handles. And those are the things that, by looking at how the theory is, and by me actually testing it out on track, I can say that this is what causes the issues that some, for example, Fen has been having at times. And this is also the thing that why he's sometimes super good.
I'd just add that there are like two different aspects to adjusting a car. So when you talk about setup, like I like this shock oil or this piston or something, it's an opinion. Maybe one driver prefers one over the other, and that's fine. That's the level that most people are always at. But then there's the next level, which is this car handles this way and has this issue that we need to fix in this way because of something. It's not just the logo on the box. There is a reason, right? You pick up one car and it has certain traits. You pick up another and it has other traits. The reason for those handling traits is not opinion. That is actually fact. So that's the difference. Like, you preferring a piston over another because on this track, the way you use the throttle, the line choice you have, the speed you hit the bumps, you prefer that more to another piston. That is opinion, okay? Mm-hmm. And that has to do with driving style and these kind of things. But the reason, for example, if we just, for example, talk about roll centers, a high roll center will always jack the car up. That is not something that is a question of opinion. The opinion comes in where you might prefer that it does that, and someone else might have an issue and not like that it does that. Do you see what I mean? So opinion is one thing, but then the facts are the other. And the opinions change about that same fact. There is a fact, and some people like a certain thing, some people dislike a certain thing. The fact remains the same. So what I have highlighted in videos, and what I try to do is I try to explain the fact. I'm not giving you my opinion as a fact. I am giving you a fact. And then on that fact, I give an opinion. And often I give two different opinions. So this is the fact, and it can be good in this way, or it can be bad in that way. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes total sense. But, you know, we've been talking about this for maybe a half hour now, maybe more. And the initial question from JQ and for Lefty was, what makes you not like Max? I mean, this is how this has gone around. Am I right or wrong here?
Yeah.
You know, this is
a fact or an opinion?
So let me go back to the initial question and just say, the reason why I started getting upset with Max is because he did start giving all of these opinions on setup wise. Okay. And you were saying that, oh, his rear end looks like it's got way too high of roll center. Max, unless you know how the car is set up, if a car spins out, it could be the front end, it could be the rear end. So without making, you could just say, oh, his car looks too stiff if it's bouncing around. Well, it also could be because the roll center is too high and it's not absorbing the bumps. I mean, it could be a lot of things. So unless you've seen the setup and you look at it and you say, okay, this is the reason, all you can do is give an opinion and not put this in somebody's head that his roll center is too high, because it could be 3 or 4 or 5 different things. Would you not agree?
Oh, I agree. And that's why I always said Fenn's car looks like this. It looks like it has a high roll center. I don't say it has a high roll center.
Okay.
And it looks like Mayfield's car has this tendency, or David's car, or Ungaro's car has this tendency. I guess.
Well, I just want to say that you asked me this question. I can't stay on here all day long. And I know JQ wants to get off here because he's probably got a beer he's got to drink. But, but the whole thing is that was the question that was asked exactly.
Yeah.
That was the question that was asked. And I just don't like when people start saying and putting things in people's heads when they don't have the facts.
Yeah, but that's actually good that you say that, because for me, I'm most of the time here, I have to assume I'm not at the American races. Here, when I was at the Worlds Warm, I could see what Spencer was doing and what he was struggling with, and what Ongara is doing, what tires Dave was running, or whatever. I could see that, all of that. So I have to make much less assumptions. But I don't see that as a sort of... I mean, I can make assumptions, and I do wish that if they were wrong, they would be corrected. So if I say, yeah, Fenn's engine was really lean and his front end and rear end, like the roll centers were too high at DNC 2020, if I'm wrong, just say how. And that's the way I work. I don't have any sort of emotion behind what I say. I say it because that's what I see and what I think. And that's the sort of, if I see a car handling that way and him doing those mistakes, I know what that's from.
Okay.
Barry.
Yeah.
Before you go, I know you got to go. I wanted to get your opinions on. We like to compare drivers and all this type of stuff. Who has impressed you so far this year?
The tough thing is I don't get to go over and see all the European drivers.
Well, let's focus on America.
So
let's who's impressed you in America right now?
Well, I think, Dakota always impresses me. He does things on the track that I see very rarely. Mayfield, always impressive because he's always there. Those two are going to be competitive. Okay. But the most impressive people and I was very upset when we lost, when the brand that JQ can't say lost Mason Fuller, because I knew he was an impressive driver. Yeah. And I think if he was to have his hands on our new car, which I think the brand that I keep saying the
brand that we cannot speak of.
Right. Well, I can't. Okay.
Yeah.
I think if Mason was to have, hands on the TLR car, the new one, he would be very fast. And I think that's been proven with Frankie Contreras Jr. making the main at DNC. He was very sick at the Silver States, barely able to hold the radio and everything at the Silver State race. So I take that race out of his hands. But you got to look at Tater Sontag, who was given the car. He had ran it for 15 minutes at home before he showed up at Silver State, and he was impressive. So
when can we expect the new car to come out, or can you say that?
It's something in the works, and I don't know the exact date, so I'm not going to give anybody any false hope.
Who are you disappointed in this year? We'll do some, I know we got in this conversation. We have a lot of guys out there that are trying to be pro drivers and all that type of stuff. Some guys had some pretty a decent weekend this weekend, but it's I mean, like look at Jackson Brunson.
And that was another person. I think Jackson for making the switch has been very, very, impressive.
Yeah. But there are some guys that are kind of behind and lacking and probably not living up.
I think there's certain people that can't handle the number one driver position.
Right.
I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say any names because I consider all these people, at least friends or acquaintances that I have to deal with. Right. And I don't want to cause any, animosity, amongst them. I think that the banter that, Max and JQ and I have is one thing, but I'm not going to say who I'm most disappointed with because it makes me feel like, or it might make them feel like I'm just disrespecting them. Gotcha. I'm not disrespecting anybody because I think that there's people out there and people are, probably going to be listening to this and go, Barry, you're pussyfooting it around and you're doing this.
Then is one. Who else?
You're going corporate, Gary. You're going corporate, Barry. Corporate, Barry. All right.
I guess if you really want me to say the people who I don't think have lived up so far this year, yes. Whatever JQ said.
Okay. I said Ryan Cavallari.
No, actually, I think he's doing quite well in 10 scale.
That is surprising, though. He's much better in 10 scale now that he is in 8 scale. Because previously, he's equally good both, but now 10 scale.
I think we've got him figured out in 8 scale now too. So I think he's gonna. I think we're fine with that.
Yeah, Killer State was really good.
Changes and stuff. So, okay.
Is the new car very different?
98% of the car is different.
Oh,
it may have the same look because it's a TLR look to it, but 98% of the parts are different.
Is it a different sort of design philosophy or just different sort of parts in the gearboxes or radio trays?
I'm not going to go into I'm not going to go into details about things. I'm just going to say you're going to have to wait, and I'm sure JQ will buy one.
I'll get one.
Yeah, as all manufacturers should. When something new comes out, they should see what they're competing against.
I do. Yeah. I can't do these videos and share this information if I don't have the cars.
So it's okay. What happened to Lefty?
Yeah, I don't
Lefty,
know.
I think he got hacked.
again.
Maybe this is his Vice podcast.
Should we take over? I can be Lefty. Okay.
I mean, you.
Let's adjust it. Okay, so I'm gonna start a sentence now, and then this stapler here. I always remember that and defend. By the way, so anyway, thanks to the sponsors, and that's Lefty.
You're mean to the guy.
Oh yeah, and I had this very good story. I'm gonna tell this great story now, and then anyway, so yeah, I think we're done. That annoys me the most. When he like ends mid-sentence, just about to say something.
Well, I mean, I hope you guys know that I came on here to banter a little and rant and clear the air of a few things. And I mean, JQ, as well as I know that we get along just fine.
Yeah,
we always have, and the whole thing with Max, it's you need to know, you need to have more information. That is what I feel. If you're going to give opinions and stuff like that, you need to have more information.
Yeah, I can take that as a
I mean, eventually you'll be able to get old enough and grow up enough that you can grow a little more better facial hair.
I'm back.
said that
and
too.
get there, you know, to where you can actually fill out instead of these like patches of everything. Did you ever see, what was the puppet movie? Was it, you know, what was that puppet movie where it was like America F yeah? What was that?
Oh yeah.
Do you
I know
remember
the one
when he
you-
went undercover and they took the pew and they like patched it to his face and stuff like that, and he was undercover as there we go. There's the model right here.
Sorry, I got something happened. I got shut down. So Barry, we have this segment. It's
Okay,
called Hot Laps.
I literally have to go in the next 5 minutes. So go
Okay,
ahead.
it's not even going to take that long.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to say
Team
a name
America,
or
World Police.
yeah, that's what it was.
That's
America
Team
World
America,
Police.
World Police.
There you go.
Yeah,
Max,
So
have
what-
you ever seen that?
That's
I haven't. That's not my age group.
Netflix that thing.
he was still swimming around in Henry's balls when that was
Yeah,
on.
I'm Matt Damon. Okay, go ahead.
So the point of the hot laps is you got to answer this in like 3 words, and
Okay.
then so we're gonna say some names, and then you got to go. All right, first off the bat, JQ.
Probably misunderstood a lot.
Okay, that's a little bit more.
What do you mean?
Dakota
That's
fan.
3 words. Wait
Too
a
many
minute.
letters. Too many
That's
letters
3
for
words.
repeated.
Yeah,
That was 3 words, wasn't it?
okay,
Yeah.
I think so. I lost count. Dakota Fend.
Oh, actually, that was 4 words because a lot is 2 words.
Yeah,
A lot.
that's
Sorry.
Dakota Fend.
Very
I'll go.
talented
Bar-
individual.
Very talented individual.
Barry's
All right,
lover boy.
Max Mort.
Not my son.
TLR.
Wait, I have to mute myself.
Mute yourself. I'll mute you.
A very great family.
Okay.
Very great family.
Ryan Mayfield.
Always very impressive.
Europe Racing. European
What- I-
Racing. European Racing.
Don't know enough.
Okay.
Me
The
not
20
knowing enough.
Hey, at least you're honest about that. 2022 World IFMAR World Championships.
Going to be fun. That's 4
Hey,
words. Gosh,
That's a
darn
great
it.
answer, though. That's a great answer. Barry, thank you for coming on.
Hey, wait.
You are welcome
first,
on her anytime.
Yeah, JQ. Go ahead.
Do you know who is going to the Worlds? Which Americans are going? So you said Fend is
Yeah.
going, but do you know the other guys? Cavalieri, Mayfield, Tebow?
Jared
those-
Wiggins?
Yeah, he's going. He was.
Yeah. Now, I mean,
But you don't know?
I know he's Canadian, but he's in Roar Federation, so Ty Tessman for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I'm sure
they're all going to
Jared-
go.
Rivkin at least.
I think Rivkin. I think Joe Bornhorst. I'm sure Cole's going. I don't know about the Fullers, but they're
I think they're going.
okay. I don't know how this whole HB thing works now. I don't know if the money's coming from Philippe. I don't know if it's coming from Absolute. I don't know.
HB doesn't really have any top European drivers at this point. So it's the all in
Jessica
America.
Paulson.
Yeah,
Jessica
and Thomas
Paulson's the number
Musso.
one.
But I'm just
Yeah,
saying, I mean, I don't know where that's coming from. So quite honestly, I can't give you an answer on who they're going to send or, whatnot. I don't know who's going to be. Quite honestly, if anybody has to pay their way to go,
Mhm.
I don't know how many people are going to pay their way because of just cost of everything right now.
Right.
I mean, it's going to be very, very expensive, even for companies to send anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see like all 30 guys that qualified. from America go.
I mean,
Just
I was
because
disappointed to only see 5 heats at a warm-up race, quite
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. It wasn't, but I think we'll see like the top guys go. I mean, I don't think, I think we'll see the top guys go, and I think we'll see the RC enthusiasts that qualified and they want to go. You know what I mean? No matter what the tickets will cost and price will cost. But I think it will have I think overall we'll probably have a low attendance. Not low, but not like, obviously, let's be honest, like the biggest worlds always seem to be in America anyway. So because it's just a lot more people racing over there. But it's going to be interesting. I think as a racer, as a race fan, I'm excited to go and see Radovan and see what these guys can do. And as I told you, the cream will always rise to the top. So,
It always does, no matter how, I think the confidence level's up with certain people. And I think that they know, even though they didn't go to the warm-up race, that most of the time they will get up to speed by the end of the event. It's just how fast they can adapt, because there's a lot of racers out there that I think JQ even knows this, and I think even Max knows this, that they can show up at a track and they pick up the layout very fast. Okay. Like I've seen these pros. It's so impressive to see some of these guys that they've already hit the line on the second lap and they've never driven around the racetrack. They've only looked at it and said, okay, I should be able to do this. They did it the first lap. They said, that's not going to be fast. In the second lap, they're doing race speed already.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are the impressive ones. And then there's ones that take time to get going. They've got more time on the track. They need to be practice pros to get up to the speed. So, I mean, I think at a world, you're going to have all of the guys that are fast are going to be fast by the semis, in my opinion. It's just who can get there the quickest.
Sweet.
I
hope you're there, man. I hope you make it. And I wish you
hope
guys
I'm
all the
there
luck.
as well, but we'll see. I mean, it's going to all dictate down to real work. I mean, I don't think it's going to dictate any of the, I know Dakota wants me there and, all this other stuff. So I don't think that's the issue. I think it just comes down to being able to get that amount of time away from real work and everything else. So, but I mean, I do have to head out. I can't wait to hear the end of this podcast after I leave to hear how much negativity is thrown on me from these two. But
you're good. Thank you for coming on.
But I do want to say good luck to at the JQRL. I mean, I mean the RCGP. So
that was funny. JQRL.
Hey, we have schedules.
Yeah. There's a lot of people have schedules,
Yeah,
but
European ones are actually.
You can have schedules when 12 people show up. So okay.
Also with 120.
So I just want to say, it's been fun. I got to go, but I'd like to do this again at some point. And I mean, we can have rants after every big race. It's all good. So
sweet. Well,
okay.
Hey, you know what, Barry? It's one of the biggest honors to me that you actually listen to us every week and then message me while you're listening to it. I
can't get enough of me. He just loves me too much.
I appreciate your support.
What were my 3 words for Max?
Definitely my son.
Not my son. Gotta go. I'll see you guys.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Later.
All right, that was fun. I like Barry. He likes to talk a lot of shit. So that's it for us today. It was a surprise. Thank you to Barry Baker. It was a surprise. He said he was going to try and come on, and he did, and we had a great conversation. That's Max's dad. He is Barry's son. That's his new nickname. It was a great discussion. You guys got to hash out some stuff, and Barry knows what he's talking about. So thank you, Barry.
Yeah. I mean, Barry is the most decorated vice champion in the world. So.
But it's always good. I always like when he comes on, and I appreciate that he supports the podcast. Eurobees this weekend, guys. So that's going to be on. No coverage for that. And then, Joseph, I'll see you next week in Italy. Hopefully, I make it there. And Max, I'm not going to see you in Italy, but I'll tell you all about it. So thank you for your time, JQ. Thank you, Max, for your time. You guys have a great weekend. Everybody around here, we can't do it without you guys. Thank you for all the continued support of the NNRC. As you guys, like I said, as you guys know, my Instagram and all that has kind of disappeared. I'm trying to get it back. Hopefully it comes back. But in the meantime, check out my new Facebook. Check out the new NNRC Instagram and our Facebook page. Don't forget our TikTok and our YouTube. Don't forget JQ's YouTube as well. He dropped some videos here the other day. And hey, Joseph, tell us a little bit about Invisible Speed. How's that going? I see you had Canas there taking a picture. Did he get a book?
Canas actually bought a book, yeah.
Hey,
me on
let
Facebook.
me tell you something. Joey Burdon. I know I'll qualify. You weren't here for our Southern Nats recap, right? But Joey Burdon out-qualified Tebow this past weekend in Nitro Buggy at Southern
He bought
Nats.
the book?
And he has bought a book. So Invisible Speed works. Go to invisiblespeed.net, get your book. And or the online course. The online course is what we want. Yeah.
I prefer you get the online course.
Yeah,
More
get that
people in
online
there.
course and all that stuff. Well, guys, you know what? Shout out to all the NNRC squad around the world. Like I said, we can't do it without you guys. Shout out to the patrons. You guys go the extra mile and help us, help keep things going here. We will do something for you next week. Hopefully, you'll see. Everybody's just been kind of busy. Me with my social media problems. These guys in Spain. So we will be back doing that for you guys. Also, shout out to all the awesome sponsors of this podcast. We can't do it without them. They are Invisible Speed, TZO 200 Tires, High Tech RCD, TNR Fuels, Mayako, Beach RC, Techno RC, Lugs Racing Tires, JQSM, G-Spec RC Tuning, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, Racecraft USA, Clinic RC, Sun Padal USA, RCGP, House of RC. Check out the DR Race Shop and, of course, the JTP RC. And shout out to my boy, RC Kevin. Thank you, guys. Nitro is the glory. E-Buggy pays the bills. Have a great weekend of racing. And I will be bringing you guys a whole bunch of content from Italy next week. So make sure to follow my Instagram. JQ, you got anything to say before we sign out?
No.
Max, anything to say before we sign out?
No. I do respect Barry, though. I like him, so good to have him on the podcast.
I don't.
Even though he has his gripes with me. But I mean, like we talked about this with Joseph, but sometimes life is just so hard when you're always right. Like, you have to watch out for other people.
Okay, Barry's son, the arrogant one. Anyway, guys, Nitro is the glory. E-Buggy pays the bills. Lefty, Beaker, and Barry's son, we're out. See you guys later.